Uh, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Scrap Time. The holiday times, Christmas, New Year's is all here. We're going to do probably our last episode of 2024, breaking down the last couple of weeks. We're going to talk about some map pool changes, college football playoff, the holiday season, what we think is going to happen in the minor tournament. So let's get into it. As always, we got our esteemed panel. All right, we got Mr. Chelly, who is making hella cash last couple of weekends. We got Cap and Sam below, Thieves alumni, Thieves Hall of Fame world champions. One was a quality head coach. The other person went 0-12 in the series S&D, but won a chip that year, so you got to tip
Everybody
it.
else gets gas.
We'll start with you. No, I give you good gas, Sam.
Everybody else gets gas.
We'll start with you, Sam. Obviously, we don't have CDL for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, man.
You know, like, what have you been doing? What have you been playing? Like,
Ranked, because I am eternally trapped in the Call of Duty content creation cycle, and Marvel Rivals. That will be that's my new main. I'm trying to get out of this COD shit, dude.
Marvel Rivals is good. It is good.
Do viewers drop when you're playing Marvel Rivals? Or
if I step one pinky toe off of Call of Duty, I lose half my viewers.
That's crazy. God.
One crumb of pinky toe.
It's sad. I think you should just ban all those viewers.
I'm so down.
Start fresh.
I'm so fucking.
Start fresh with the true fans, the loyal
It's
ones.
funny because like over the last couple of days, people put in my chat like Matt abandoned us, so now I'm here. I'm like, y'all would rather watch me than Matt just for COD? That's crazy.
Matt had an all-time crash out about COD.
Yeah. Warranted crash out.
Oh yeah, it's for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, like a 20-minute crash out about all the problems with the game.
Yeah,
I mean, warranted. You made good points. I
mean, it comes down to this, unfortunately, for COD. Like, I think the gameplay is great. Obviously, the maps we'll get into, but the lack of quality anti-cheat has really killed anyone that just kind of grinds rank play and you don't have devs in your chat just auto banning people. And I could tell that for someone like Matt, eventually he hits a fucking breaking point. And yeah, so he's just been grinding Marvel Rivals with like Ninja every day is where he's been at.
Good time.
So, Cap, obviously you're excited. Eagles playing well. Lions are breaking down. Other than that, what have you been up to?
Licking walls, not much. Trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life. You know, nothing serious.
Not much.
Just existential shit. Existential shit, tweaking in my own head. Yeah, like I said, nothing too serious, and it's about it. I started playing chess recently.
Ooh, no, you're on the LAT chess gimmick again?
I know. I don't know what. Actually, no. You know what inspired me back is for some reason my Reddit algorithm would show me this subreddit called Chess Beginners, and like I never clicked on it for the longest time. It was always in my algorithm, and I started clicking on it. And I was like, you know what? I should just start playing.
Fuck yeah!
So fun. It's a fun game.
I respect
we got a chess gimmick on LA too. Ken and Zach played chess every day, all day.
I think FaZe had a chess gimmick at one point. I literally went to a content shoot and MC was playing chess like in person with RJ. Everybody goes through that period.
In person, good.
Yeah, they were playing the in-person chess that they found at the studio we were at. Chelly, I know you said you're obviously going to the Stars game later, but big Penn State game tomorrow against SMU.
Yeah, I mean everybody that thinks they're like the greatest sports bettor of all time is fading Penn State, so we'll see how that goes for them. I don't think SMU is ready for the cold and a whiteout. I mean, come on, Penn State and a whiteout. It's like the meme. It's like the volume. What is it? The crowd level or the crowd noise?
Except when they play Michigan or Ohio State at home and they lose those games. But when you're playing Washington,
we're not playing Michigan. We're not playing Ohio State, so we're good.
Didn't Penn State the whiteout's going to get to their head?
Wait, didn't they get a Mickey Mouse bracket, right?
We did.
They did get a Mickey Mouse bracket. Yeah, unfortunately, the college football playoff. We talked about in a past episode. Teams like SMU or Boise, like who are not going to be high ranked top 4 or 5 in the final rankings, but get auto buys when they win their conference, like kind of screws up the bracket. Like Oregon got kind of effed, even though they were the best team. Suddenly they have Tennessee and Ohio State on their quarter. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I think this is the last season. This is the first year of it, but it's the last year of the like college football playoff rights, I think. So it's all going to get renegotiated in the spring, and I assume the Big Ten and the SEC will work their magic and probably fix it.
Yeah, a lot of people are complaining too now that Carson Beck's ruled out for Georgia, that they shouldn't even be in the playoffs because that's what happened to FSU last year.
Didn't they win the game now?
You can't get kicked out of the playoffs because fucking your QB.
I know.
But they won the game. Hold on, but they won the game though, did they not?
FSU?
No, Georgia.
They did win the game.
They won the game, so they got the auto bid. I don't know what people were talking about. Like,
they did win the game.
Yeah. I'm just saying that
Yeah,
Then now he's out. I'm saying now he's out.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the problem is the college football playoff commission at the time said they penalized FSU because the quarterback is out, and then they kind of now put themselves in a little bit of that bind. But I'll go ahead, Cap.
Carson Beck even good? Every time I've watched him play, he's
everyone that
pretty
I
ass.
talk to or brings up Georgia always says that guy's a bad football player, which I don't even know how that's possible. But
yeah, I don't watch a lot of college football, but when I've seen him play, it's just never pretty.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of mid, but that Georgia team is really good in the trenches, and they just grind out games. So we'll see what they can do. But they don't play this week. They don't play till New Year's, I think.
who's supposed to win? Is it Oregon?
Yeah.
I don't think
I would say
anyone knows
Oregon.
who's supposed to win because all of
I
these
would-
Oregon's
teams,
the favorite though.
none
Right?
of these teams have like. All these teams have a major weakness at some point in their team. This isn't like a Georgia from a couple of years ago where like they're stacked every position. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like every team, even Oregon's got their issues. Like Boise State, they almost lost to Boise State earlier this year. You know what I'm saying? Ashton Genty ran for like 200 some yards against them. So we'll see. That's the exciting part of the playoff. Well, I'm excited to watch the IU Notre Dame game in the snow tonight because I just generally think one of these teams in this first round might make a run, and we'll see. I don't think it'll be Indiana though.
When do these games start tonight? I don't even
Tonight
know.
at 8. It's
Tonight at
tonight
8?
and then tomorrow
Oh,
at noon, 4 and 8, I think.
Good weekend.
It's a good weekend. Tomorrow
I
you
think
have
NFL's on tomorrow too.
yeah, the Texans
Yeah, the
game.
games are shit though.
Are they?
They're not that
I mean,
bad.
Texans Chiefs isn't bad, but Ravens Steelers is just 7-6, bro.
You know, I saw a crazy
7-6,
stat.
9-6, 3 field goals. Chris Boswell to win it, dude.
I saw a crazy stat, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like Lamar Jackson's gotten hurt a lot, and because of that, he hasn't played the Steelers at home. And it's the first time that he's ever played the Steelers at home with an actual crowd. Because the only other time that he played them at home was during COVID. Yeah, so it's like 5 or 6 years of him just straight dodging this game at home.
I hope it's a shootout.
Kind of like you and Kason. Interesting.
Now, see, Kason's dodging me
Damn.
because I said I was down to play on land, then all of a sudden he
Ben
grabs
asked for a
ranks.
PJ to LA to 1v1
Yeah,
Kason.
because I'm playing on land. I'm not going to play some online cheese.
Some superstar.
PJ's
bro.
crazy.
He asked for a
It
PJ.
could be a first class seat on Delta. I don't give a fuck. Give me
What
a
if
fuck.
it's-
Oh, it could be first class.
You won't fly economy though.
Nah, fuck
I'm
it, nah,
Economy to
fuck
1v1 Kason in LA, like, can't be
Nah,
bothered.
not first class.
I won't even get out of bed
Well,
for that.
NJ, how are you calling?
case?
How are you calling pink cheese when someone else could just host? And
No,
you were
because
just
Kason, I said to Kason before the
Depends on
season,
animal.
hold on. I said to Kason before the season, I'm down to play online. He said, no, we're going to do it online. I said, okay, that's fine. Like, we'll do it at a major. And then all of a sudden he reversed his position. And I'm not going to sit here and give deal swap, bro. We agreed the terms, and then he decided to change the terms. And so I have the ability to say, no, fuck this. I'll play you on land. So we'll figure it out.
NJ's using excuses. He knows Kason.
We'll do a case on 1v1. It'll get figured out eventually, bro. It'll get figured out eventually. Anyway, let's enough random talk. Let's get into it. We got a couple of things we're gonna cover. We're gonna do a tier list, and we got some community questions that I surfaced on Twitter.
Oh,
So shout
tier
out.
list.
Yeah, but it's a way for us to
Ooh.
like recap, 2 weeks and kind of give our
Get
thoughts on
on
what teams
Reddit.
we're gonna work on.
Tier lists are
Okay.
so fun.
Love
Do
getting
some dumb shit.
All right. Well, let's start off though. We're gonna talk about the big news from yesterday, and we've been kind of waiting for this news for a while as far as the map pool, but it has come in, and some surprises here. I think earlier on in the season, we would have thought the red card might be the map that comes out of both the Hardpoint S&D pools for Hacienda, but in fact, it's actually Rewind is now out in both Hardpoint and Search. I'm gonna start with you, Cap. A lot of chatter on Twitter. People kind of frustrated with this move. Do you agree with the move? Think another map should have been removed instead?
Saying for hardpoint, right?
Hardpoint and
And
Search.
Rewind's going.
S&D, I don't know. Hardpoint though, I think Scrap had a point that seems like I just think the logic of taking a map out because it's the most vetoed makes no sense, because I think teams do traditionally like ban those maps that are like a little slower, more methodical, more less of a bang out. I think Scrap actually has a point. I don't know if he articulates his point very well. He doesn't, just so you know, but I think he does have a point there. And I don't know. I'm curious. The teams who have been vetoing Rewind, I'm curious if they actually think it's just like a bad map or if they are not good at it. And that's why they're vetoing it. Because, that's just why I have the issue with that logic, like to determine which map's out, which map's in.
Yeah, what do you think, Sam? Because obviously there's a situation where it seems like this wasn't a vote situation. The league just said rewind was played the least. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit yesterday when we talked to Ernie on stream, but I don't like the league using one data point, I guess, in order to make a whole map pool decision. Because I know Spence went on the flank a couple weeks ago and he mentioned that the league was just going to do what they did. And I'm fine with it because at least they were transparent. But the issue that I have is that they didn't really ask if the map was like the maps that they were removing. Like there needs to be like a check. Like there needs to be a check and balance. Like if they did that and they ended up removing like a good map that people enjoy watching, like I think if they removed red card, I think there would have been like a serious issue because I think that people have like grown to enjoy that map for the most part.
Yeah.
So I like that the map pool was changed quickly, and I actually don't mind that the league did it themselves because that's how other esports do it. But I feel like there needed to be some sort of check from the players just to make sure that like, okay, the map that we're at least removing is one that people like don't feel great about. Because I don't think Rewind Hardpoint Rewind S&D, excuse me, needed to be removed. That map felt like it was in every series, whether it was played or not. Personally, I think that Skyline Search being in is still absolutely insane. I think Protocol Hardpoint sucks. So, I mean, there's an argument to remove like 4 different map and mode combos, but I think them just double getting rid of Rewind is kind of wild, personally.
I think playing to your point in my chat, and Plain said the pros can't decide to follow up on your point, Sam. The pros can't decide themselves without bias. W by the league. These little odd kids can't make decisions on their own. Someone had to step in. I think the issue here is like, I don't think, and I think a majority of the pros feel that the league didn't pick the correct maps. If they would have done a vote, right? You want the ideal situation where both data points line up and the decision is pretty easy. So when you end up in like a 9-3 type situation, you're good. But I agree with you, Sam. My personal thing and my kind of issue, and I understand people don't like P3, P4 rewind, right? Super kind of sticky. It's point. You could break the spawns in the back, but it's pretty sticky. We have maps like Protocol. We have maps like Skyline and the Hardpoint map pool that are 4-lane maps. We play 4v4. And there's a lot of randomness and weird situational play because you can't pick up all lanes in all situations. Like think about P3 Protocol, right? You have to pick up left, you have to pick up right, you have to pick up front, and you have to pick up the spiral push. What happens when 2 people hit a lane and you gotta slide over and get trades? Guy just camping spiral just gets a kill because you don't have a 5th person to watch a lane. So that's kind of my POV on it. What do you think, Chelly?
I mean, personally, I hated Rewind.
Why?
Why? I mean,
both modes.
I didn't enjoy watching it. I mean, obviously, LA Thieves were gross at it, so like, I understand why Scrap would be super frustrated, and I understand why the rest of the league's pretty quiet on this issue. Just the best team in the game probably lost their best hard point, and
that's definitely why they're tweaking.
That's 100% why they're tweaking, and I get it, but at the same time, like selfishly, as we do 8-hour watch parties and watch every single match, like we don't want to watch Rewind Hardpoint. I think it's probably one of the more boring HPs. Like, yes, we want bang outs. And yes, I know the people watching at home want bang outs in every map to be Skyline and red card. But I mean, at the end of the day, Rewind, in my opinion, was the worst hardpoint. It went the way it went, like you guys have been saying.
For watchability, you mean?
For watchability, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to see it from pros angle, but obviously I don't have that point of view. So from my point of view, I like the decision. I don't like how they did it. I think the pros should have got a vote, but and I mean. I think about it.
Search, or is it just HP?
I actually like it for search. I like it for search.
See, that's what I thought too. I like Rewind Hardpoint is like, there's definitely a case there, but I thought Rewind Search was a really good map. I thought it was fine, and that's the one I'm like really shocked on that they removed.
Me too.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. I think if I were to remove one based on 2 weeks, Skyline S&D just seems like I get why. Then I've talked to some pros. Like I get like some people do like that map. But I think like it's
Skyline S&D.
Yeah, which is, and their argument is like, even though it feels most chaotic, it's just very straight up. You can kind of watch everything. You sort of know controllably how stuff goes. Obviously, people can on the ground pinch, but you can kind of play for it, as opposed to like just sort of the flow. Well, some people don't like the flow of Protocol S&D. It's kind of the big play.
I've been seeing a lot more people complaining about Protocol Hardpoint, especially in any ranked lobby. It just gets instantly vetoed. I love Protocol Hardpoint. I don't know what the hate is. Like I'd love to.
Crazy.
I
I
think
want
that
to hear,
map's terrible.
but I want to hear why. Like explain it to me why
Well,
you guys like Protocol Hardpoint.
P4 is just a horribly designed hill in general.
I mean that I
agreed.
can agree
That's
on.
just like a very poor hill. And the thing about Protocol is what Ben said to start the conversation. It's impossible to watch everything, so you're just permanently getting shot in the back. It's not. It's you can. I mean, Ravens have damn near mastered the map from what I've seen so far in scrims and matches. Ravens seem to have an unreal grasp on the map, so there's definitely learnable and you can be really good at it. But it just feels like there's an insane element of randomness when it comes to the map because you could just always take a route that's going to be open like 25% of the time. And if you get lucky, you're probably breaking the hill.
Well, do you watch
So-
how Ravens plays that map? They just make it chaotic.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah,
That's,
they do.
they literally.
they just live in the chaos.
Austin plays super straight up. Reese plays super straight up, and Gwyn especially just fucking
Just
has
get
free
lost,
licenses get lost.
You just get lost.
Yeah, and so that's
Any-
why they're good at it.
Any map that has like an underground lane like that, like even Skyline, just
4-lane map.
yeah, it just is always gonna make fluky because you like you have to watch those lanes, but
But you can't like hard
you
commit
can't.
to
Yeah,
watching
you
it.
can't.
Yeah.
So, like by definition, like it just becomes fluky, random timings. Like because you like S&D Skyline, you can't just sit there and watch underground. But
Yeah.
then just toss up. Does he hit it that round? Does he get good timing? Shoot you on the back? Like
It's all timing. It's like,
Yeah,
I gotta pick this up.
exactly.
Oh, I can't hold this for this long, or they're gonna hit
Yeah.
something else. You give it up, shot in the back.
yeah, and teams. I mean, players are smart. They're not gonna like insta hit it to
Yeah.
start a fucking round. But I don't know. That's the issue with just apps with those designs. Like it's just so hard to make those like truly competitive.
Well, there's obviously to everybody's point. There was a lot of chatter on Twitter about it. We haven't talked about Hossie controls. Watching a bunch yesterday, and that map doesn't look good. And there were a number of tweets after scrims yesterday. Sam, I saw your face about people's reactions on it. I'll let you go
That's why
first.
I said it, bro. I said that map sucked.
Yeah.
And I think Austin, I want to say, was in a tweet or a thread with somebody. I don't remember who he was talking to, but he basically just echoed what I said. I know a lot of people want more maps in the pool, but adding in maps for the sake of having more maps as opposed to evaluating like the actual like viability of the maps instead like doesn't make sense. Like they added in Hossie for the sake of having 3 maps without understanding that map is horrible. Like the spawns on Hacienda on both sides, offense and defense, are so far out of the play that like if you just on defense, if you just trade, you get 1 or 2 opening kills, you're immediately fucked on offense because you're spawning you're spawning in the middle of nowhere across the map.
Yeah.
And I think the points are misplaced a little bit. I think the spawns need adjusting. It would help the map a little bit if spawns got changed, which is obviously always a possibility. But as of right now, I don't think that map is competitively viable. And does that mean that people are going to veto that and then just not play Protocol anyway? And we're just going to keep seeing Vault, even though they did add a map to try to fix the problem. But I don't think that the problem is fixed because the map that they added sucks ass. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll pull up the tweet while you were talking about Austin's point. And maybe Cap, you can allude to, like, I get it if there's a veto concern. The league doesn't want to control maps when we saw Protocol play twice, but yeah, what are your thoughts, Cap?
I mean, definitely an issue with having 2 maps because the one team just picks a map. There's no veto in it. So I
Team
mean, that's
BOP.
definitely. What'd you say?
Team BOP,
Yeah,
which I
it's
guess
just
really
that-
isn't a thing anymore. That's probably the number one thing, right? Sorry, you can continue. That was just a random side thought.
Team B, no, probably won't be OP. Now, if you both teams get a veto, but
Yeah.
I don't know that's an issue. But I don't know. The bigger issue is not having 3 playable maps. Like it's just there's no winning here. There's no winning. There's no good way to handle it. So I don't know what the answer is, but it's a tricky situation, and I don't know. Maybe we just need different remakes of actual control maps that have been played in the past because this
That
one's
just
not
popped
it.
up there, dude. Fuck.
Yeah,
What are you doing, Benji? Are you
on the
producing
camera.
over
I was trying to get my camera to work, but it's all good. I was throwing
Producing
off.
over there.
Yeah, I don't know where they go from here. I think the only real thing, and Chelly, you probably agree, they can do is just hopefully season 2's got some good maps after Major 1.
Bring back Arsenal or fucking Frequency or something. Bring them all back.
I mean, it's,
Actual control maps that
The
were
actual
played.
control maps. Yeah.
What a concept.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are they to get rid of control and make it a different game mode?
0.
Okay, perfect.
We were.
Then why do we? I don't know why we even have to have the conversation, right? Like the league's not going to do shit. We sit here and pray that we get another hard point.
There were some feelers out, and the response was not no, but no.
The response is the issue is basically like we were talking.
I'll say what the issue
we were
is,
talking. We were talking the other day about. I think we were talking about on yesterday's stream, Sam. We were talking about with Scrap and Tom about Riot and Val, how Val does it, and all sorts of stuff.
That's what I brought up. Yeah.
And the one comparison and the one kind of difference between how Riot operates things and Activision operates things is there's a lot of synergy between the esports team and developers on the Riot side. Like they're very hand in hand because it's a lot of the same people and like things get addressed. With Activision, there's too many silos. You have the complicated structure with the development studios themselves that backed in that legacy structure. And so like when we have this conversation with Treyarch as a developer about removing control, like obviously there are political implications to that. And I think the only response, and you guys hit it, is they just got to make better control maps. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say. Like the game mode sucks right now. We're gonna watch Vault Control 70 million times. So yeah, Chad, not great. It sucks because this game's good, but the map pool maybe not so much. So we'll see. Team's got a couple of weeks now to grind on Hasi, Hardpoint Control, and S&D. Obviously, the vetoes have also switched a little bit. So if you're worried about the Team B kind of OP thing, well, Team A now gets a ban on Control. So we will see what happens.
You watch any streams, Ben, on Hasi?
For which game mode?
Hardpoint. I didn't watch any Control. I'm not gonna. I don't even.
Hardpoint's fine.
Streaming?
Hardpoint's fine on Hasi. I mean,
there's
made some changes.
There's so many little changes that actually are such a big deal, though.
Yeah.
Like I think that the map feels relatively the same. Like the spawn logic is similar. There's some small changes, but the map flow and how you break and things like that. Other than I think maybe P2 will play out a lot differently now. That's relatively the same, but all of the smaller map changes, like adding in the hallway enclosed for that window, taking away the water route, all of the hop ups mid and every open and closed window you can do now. I think that changed the map a lot more than I originally had realized. Mainly being the closed hallway thing. I hate that shit, but there's a lot of changes that make the hard points feel or make Hasi hardpoint feel a little bit different.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. I agree with Austin's point about OG. Hasi would have been nice, but we'll see. Teams are going to get a lot of. I mean, the amateurs have been playing it for a week or so now. The pros started playing amateur teams on it yesterday. It'll be interesting. I've also put on screen, if you're watching the video version of this podcast, kind of split right now between picks and bans in the league, so you can kind of see why Rewind hardpoint statistically like only got played 5 times, but you see with S&D it's really muddy. And although somehow Rewind got removed when it was the 3rd most played, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
and then
protocol is the least, right? I don't have your stream up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could argue they made protocol worse, by the way, when moving the bomb side. So
yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with that. And yeah, 22-2 says it all about control. So hopefully with Hasi and this gets better, but somehow I don't believe that.
That's a crazy ratio.
Yeah.
Protocol still just won't be played.
Correct. That's what I was saying, bro. There's no point. The maps are just bad. People are still going to square up on Vault.
Yeah. So but then you get a situation like we'll get to talk about like Miami Heretics, for example. Like they haven't lost on Vault Control. Like is that against teams that are clearly good at that map? Like you would rather just take your chances on Protocol? Like, we'll see over the course of the next 3 weeks how people's strategy evolves. Let's move on. It was a good map pool conversation. We'll talk about more probably next episode, but we're gonna dabble in the world of a tier list and kind of use this as our opportunity to really talk about
tier list.
Some of the teams and kind of performances. And I think more importantly, we want to hit on is things that we want to see these teams work on over the next 3 weeks. So how do you guys want to start this? You want to just pick a random team or a specific team that y'all are?
Let's just go down the list, bro. Just go down the list.
Alphabetical, or we can just best to worst.
If we if we want to do alphabetical, then I guess we can talk about probably one people want us to talk most about, which is ATL struggles 1 and 3. Only winning against Vegas.
Not bad.
I mean,
Cap started to tier list hot.
Cap, I want to make kind of a macro point, and we'll use it to kind of zoom in on phase. Like a lot of ARs are really struggling in this game, right? there are some teams in Atlanta phases, one of them where both the R's have not played well. Do you think that's probably potentially one of maybe a couple of reasons why they've gotten off to a slow start?
Yes, but I don't know. They just don't look like they figured it out. They just don't look like they're on the same page. Realistically, I think they're probably an A tier team. That's second tier.
Put them in B.
Put them in B?
Yeah.
I think I want to see where everyone shakes out, but I think somewhere B or A. Like low A or high B.
I'm fine with them being in B. They look like
I don't know. They just don't look like they figured out the teamwork aspect of this game. It doesn't look like a cohesive four-man effort. It just looks like a bunch of individuals just kind of running around shooting their gun, which is not what we've come to expect from these guys.
I think anything lower than B is just a sin. Like, I get they're playing like shit, but
yeah, they're not lower.
They're not of the quality of the teams that we're going to put in C or D.
Yeah. What's leaving in B for now, Chelly? Do you agree with B? Just we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going B.
I agree with Cap. They're a team like next 3 weeks, Zach and MC, I think, get more comfortable. Like I mentioned scrims yesterday, but I believe like Simp really stepped off a plane and hopped into scrims, which never helps. I want to see what they do over the next 3 weeks because their S&D doesn't look good. Hardpoint's actually been not too bad. They're league average in hardpoint. But
You know what I think really?
But they've either been clubbing people or getting clubbed. There's no in between in hardpoint for them. Like they blew out Vegas twice, they blew out Toronto once, and then the other maps were not close. So like you need some your point cap, you need some stability in the game mode.
This is what you expect from those guys. League average is bad.
Yeah.
Like they should not be getting clubbed by anybody. And beating Vegas like that doesn't really
move the
needle for me.
Yeah. And statistically, every year they're usually top 3 hardpoint team. I know people don't feel that way, but statistically, it's how it's usually consistently. So I like them starting off at B. Continuing on the B thing, Boston Breach, maybe a team we didn't think we'd put as high maybe on this as we thought. Have looked pretty good. And talking about the teamwork front, I think these guys seem to have good chemistry. Obviously, Purge isn't the craziest slayer, but maybe he's stepping up in the leadership. These other guys are popping off.
Shooting,
What's up?
He's been shooting, man.
Purge?
He may not be like slaying, but he's throwing really good damage. I think it's just what Pat said on the show the other night, which is crazy that I'm saying this, but he always looks good or like serviceable against everybody that isn't supposed to be better than them. You know what I mean? Like everyone on the same playing field as them or worse, he always looks good. But like when he gets in those like you gotta have it matchups, he gets shit on. So that's what I'm kind of waiting to see from him.
Yeah, their schedule so far, obviously they got that big upset win against Optic, Minnesota, Miami, Vancouver. So they've dodged so far Thieves, they've dodged FaZe, they've dodged Toronto. They will play 2 of the 3 of those teams during the Major 1 qualifier, but because of their 3-1 start, they actually have a bye in the minor tournament. So, Cap and Chelly, what do you think we should put them?
I'm going A here for Boston. I know it's early, but I love what Cammy said in a post-game interview. He's like, Purge is making calls. Just going back to what you guys were saying about Purge, and I think this team's really not surprising me because I think we thought they'd be middle of the pack, but
no, we thought
I didn't think we
thought they'd be bottom.
Yeah.
Oh,
I shit.
You were a believer off the rip with Boston?
I was a believer, bro. I was always a believer.
Were you?
We did say, yeah, but we did say this is Snoopy's like last chance because like we always buy high on Snoopy, and then like it's just whatever you want to say. Like we compared it to the Afro situation, Cap. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'll let you get in your Cap.
I just remember the first podcast we did when we talked about all the previews. I thought we were pretty consensus that we had these guys like 10th or 11th. Like ahead of Vegas.
I had them definitely like last 2. For sure.
Yeah, like ahead of Vegas, but basically nobody else confidently. I would probably say they're low B tier right now. I think they're playing better than we expected, but they're still I don't know, A. We have to see where everyone shakes out, but the teams I imagine ending up in A, I do not have them there.
Okay, so how do we
ending? Yeah, I was gonna say ending up or currently.
How we want to do
currently.
This
I'm saying when the tier list is done.
Yeah, that's the same. That was the point I was about to get to.
How are we doing this? Are we saying right now, like what we think these teams are? Or are we saying like
right
now?
If Boston and FaZe play right now.
Purely right now, Boston's an A.
Yeah.
If Boston plays FaZe right now, you think Boston wins?
I think they beat the. I think they could win that series 100%.
Yeah.
They could or they do.
I think they would because they're better than FaZe and S&D.
I think they win 2 searches against FaZe.
The way I see it, if you put Boston A and FaZe in B, that means you think Boston is like a.
I think Boston's a better team right now than FaZe.
60% plus chance of beating FaZe. That's the way I kind of
Boston
look
is
at
a
it.
better team
I think
right
they,
now.
I think they beat FaZe 60% of the time right now.
I think they can beat 2 searches. They're at least 50-50 in search, and I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they can beat them in a hardpoint. Boston's hardpoint's been good. They haven't played like, FaZe Optic or Toronto, but like from the teams that they've played good fundamental hardpoint, and their search has been fucking lights out. So yeah, I could see them definitely beating FaZe right now.
Boston have a deep hardpoint S&D map pool. FaZe are like 1 in 6 in the mode, and like again, their 2 ARs are really struggling. I think if they were to play right now, maybe not in 3 weeks, I think Boston take that one. Do you disagree, Pat, or disagree?
That's right. Boston beat Optic. Sorry, I forgot that Boston beat Optic.
Yeah.
Repeat that one more time, Ben.
Do you disagree? Like you think that if FaZe played Boston right now, they
I
beat them?
think FaZe still beats Boston if they play right now.
You want to guys on it?
I feel like that's just like because of their roster, not because of how they're actually playing right now. Like, have you FaZe look like horrible right now? Genuinely terrible.
I mean, when you say terrible, how many teams are better than FaZe right now? You'd say LAT is better. You'd probably say Optic's
LAT,
better.
Ravens, Boston, Toronto, and Optic. All better than FaZe right now.
Do you think FaZe is like 6th right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this tier list is right now, after the first 2 weeks of matches, yes.
I mean that's fair. I don't know. I just think it. I
think you're looking at their roster and just thinking that they have all the talent in the world and that they should beat these teams. But truth be told, they are not good right now. Like I would pick if Boston was playing FaZe tomorrow, I'm picking Boston to win the series.
I think the talent though, like, will still show out against some of these teams. Like they still will out talent like a Boston.
But like those series where they're supposed to out talent, they've gotten shit on.
I mean, bro, look at Vegas. Like obviously,
who are they supposed to out talent? Carolina,
Ravens. They 3-0'd them in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I know that's like the only one though.
I mean, they lost a map to Falcons, their first respawn loss of the entire season, or respawn win. Excuse me.
Win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't
with LAT because I think LAT was griefing, not because FaZe was playing well.
So we put it to a vote.
You guys want an A? Sure.
I'm leaving FaZe in B. I'm leaving Boston in A.
Let's
That's fine. We can do that.
Do it for now, and then we can see how it plays out. But I agree. I think Boston's better than FaZe right now. Carolina, we probably gonna put an A. I think we feel pretty good. I don't think we're
Boston. Right now. I'm putting those motherfuckers in S.
You
in S?
Okay.
Right now,
a Toronto Thieves. You think they're beating?
What I'm asking about. If we're not putting them in S, what are we doing here?
We're gonna get cooked for this shit.
Who's your S tier? Who's your S tier?
Yeah, you need to set the bar.
LAT potentially alone.
That is fucking insane.
You don't want to put Toronto in S?
Out? Oh no, maybe Toronto.
Toronto.
Ravens is better than both of them in hardpoint.
I will say this for Ravens.
Hardpoint? I
will say this for Ravens. They played Cloud9, who don't look good. We'll get to them later. We played FaZe, we just talked about, don't look good. LAG, who haven't won, and Vegas, who haven't won. Yes, Carolina look great, but they haven't yet played.
It's a good shout.
The next tier of teams, well, we expected FaZe to be in that. And their schedule the rest of the way is Boston, Vancouver, Miami. So we may not see, if they get upset early or whatever, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd put Carolina in S. Honestly, I think top of A.
I mean, if I get outvoted, I get outvoted, but I would put them in S.
Does anyone agree with Sam they should be in S?
Okay, so Sam, if there's an event tomorrow, who is your top 4 teams?
Toronto.
Placing top 4.
Toronto, LAT, potentially Ravens, and like Optic. Some weird like S&D upset cheese between one of them.
I don't know.
Or the Tiny Terrors go and play well on land. One or the other.
The fact that you have those teams, like,
I mean, FaZe could just show up. If we're doing an event tomorrow, FaZe could just show up and do what they did before when they were shit online and just get third every event.
Slasher,
minimum.
we have a bunch of people in chat. Doug was in chat earlier. Shout out Doug. Austin's in chat said, I'm 30, can't be an S. Barely can hold a controller.
Austin's got a 94 birthday, same year as me. He cannot be an S tier.
Austin's one of the better hardpoint players, if not the best in this game so far.
Yeah, I
though.
love
Austin's balling.
Ladies
I just
moving
need
on
a
the map.
system.
I don't know. If you guys want to put him in A, I'm not gonna.
I'd probably go A here. Just Ben had a good point. They haven't really played anyone
Thieves have
that's
played
in
similar
that
teams.
tier.
Well, it did a slam fade.
They slammed phase.
Yeah.
They did slam
Like,
phase,
I
bro.
have to be objective. I just don't think like LAT is my top team right now. I just don't think Carolina beats them or is like on par with them. Like right now, like if they play 100 series versus LAT right now, I don't think they're winning 50. I don't think that's a 50-50 matchup. I think that's like a 35-65 matchup.
Well, Chad does not want us to put an S. I'll say it's about Carolina. Cap, if Carolina pull up to this minor tournament and make it to semis or finals, and they beat one of the good teams along the way, are you a believer at that point?
I'm still a believer in Carolina. A tier is very good
Mhm.
compared to where anyone had this team
Scrappy, I die.
preseason.
No, I'm saying a believer in
say?
them, like
He said
winning
if
an
I
event.
lose to Sir Scrappy, I die.
He's finally beat the Tiny Terrors. This guy's getting delusional on us.
First
Look at
time in
this guy.
6 years. But I mean, listen, we got to take what Carolina's doing. They've got a couple of maps that I think are just teams now got to respect the fuck, right? Protocol Hardpoint, like they should not be playing a team on Protocol Hardpoint probably at this tournament.
Yeah,
So.
anyone who squares up in Protocol with them is crazy.
I know y'all we're talking about the optic.
At that point where you got to respect teams' good maps. Like you can think you're good at the map, but when teams look that good, it's like, okay, let's just play anything else.
Damn. Teach's on your ass over here, Ben.
What did Teach say?
He said, why does Ben keep bringing that up? Fuck up, Ben.
It's just stat, Teach. Like, what do you want from me, man? Like, good victory, bro.
Nobody
Terrible.
beats TJ like
You
20
and
times in a row.
Gwen, we were, listen, going into the season, listen, I'll say this to Teach. We, going into this on this show, we're actually not downers on Carolina. I think our only hate was on Reese. We were like, I don't know about Reese in this role, but we felt like the Gwen Teach sub duo, because you both had good seasons last year, we're going to like keep it going. And
I've been high on my Ravens property and I'm still spewing it.
It's just what we want to see from Carolina, and Austin and Teej, you guys probably know this, your vets, is using the next 3 weeks effectively. Don't fall behind. Don't let teams catch up to you. Keep doing what you're doing and pull this minor tournament, get at least top 4, get the momentum, go to fucking Madrid and place. And you guys will be chilling. Like that's the path.
Yeah,
so.
Ben Slasher's trying to keep it grounded in your chat. He said we've only played bad teams on Proto. I think good teams can challenge on that
That's
map.
an Austin sarcasm if I've ever seen it.
That's
Austin, that's Austin sarcasm if I've ever seen anyone. All
That's
right.
all. I could see the grin that he has while talking.
Teasing right now.
Literally see. I could picture
Him
it
and
perfectly.
Tej are probably talking to each other right now. Just
Perfectly.
giggling.
Listen, guys,
Eating
I'm
Brian
trying to
Saint
get you
cookies
guys.
that he's
I'm
made.
trying to get you on S, bro. These cats don't want to hear it.
I'm a Carolina fan. I like this team.
Yeah, we
I
like
just
it.
like I don't.
It's okay.
I see in the chats people like Cap's hating. Like I don't know. S
You can disagree
tier.
without being a hater, Chet.
I think
S tier
Carolina.
so quickly is like
Yeah.
They're top of A.
I don't know.
Carolina's top of
I
A
think
right
for the
now.
Carolina guys, they are everybody's second favorite team, and I think that really helps them. Like them being in this form and going into Madrid, I think they're going to get a lot of support at that event. I think people want to see this team succeed. I think they've been frustrated that a couple of these guys have either dealt with bad team situations, or the case of Carolina last season, they came up short for qualifying for champs. Like I think people want to see this team do well, so I'm excited. I know it's tough with SA and that, but being top A for Carolina, I feel like they're top 4, so we're kind of putting them in that spot. But let's move on to a
Fat Bob has
team.
aura. People want to root for Fat Bob. Much aura.
For sure. Let's move on to a team that is definitely not top 4 and probably not grinning either. LAG 0-4. They've had a couple of heartbreak wins, inconsistent slaying. Y'all think it's a D tier team? What are you thinking?
See,
E?
see. I think they're really
C,
good at
yeah, I think
control,
C.
and I think they've lost 3 game 5s,
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually
2
think
game 5 round 11s. I think,
Yeah, the first two they
Crazy.
played.
which are heartbreakers.
yeah, it's crazy to say given that they're 0-4, but I actually think LAG looks better than I expected because they've kept a lot of their hard points super close against who was it, LAT, and then
Yeah.
they beat Optic on one, right? I think they beat
yes. I think it was a Skyline.
I think it was a
It
Skyline.
Skyline and P-Dog fried.
Yeah,
P-Dog was
P-Dog
frying.
and Kiz were going nuts.
Is is frying in this game as a whole.
Yeah,
But
Kiz
the
is
issue
disgusting.
is Skyline Hardpoint's the only map that they've had wins on. They're 0-4 on both Rewind and Vol. I know Rewind's out, but they haven't played Protocol either. So they got to be a Gohasi
They've
team.
had
Or
the
otherwise,
reset trees, that's right.
they've had
Yeah.
super close ones. That was my thing. Like,
yeah.
I would put them C. I know they're winless right now, but they are not Falcons. Respectfully to Falcons,
I'm with that.
I
Nice
would put
easy
them in
C.
C.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
go C
keen.
as
I'm keen
well.
with C, and hopefully these guys can get some wins. In the minor tournament, they're going to score up against Minnesota. I think that's potentially doable. But their schedule after that: Cloud9, desperate for wins. Toronto, very good. Then Vegas last. Like they're going to have to win out and hope and pray that 3-4 gets them in, which doesn't always work. See Carolina made you 4 last year.
And the second P-Dog and Caesar don't keep up with the slang, this team's just like they just instantly lose their respawn. Like it's if one of them's having an off game, if both of them are having an off game, especially, they're just never gonna win anything. Because
Dude, it's kind of a lot of these teams are living and dying by the AR duos right now, which is surprising because it's normally the opposite. Like how good your subs are is how far your team is going to go. But there's a lot of these teams that have inconsistent ARs that just like, I mean, I'm looking at like C9, LAG, like Miami from time to time with Lucky Metals. Yeah, like there's a lot of these teams that have like kind of AR duos that are hit or miss, and you're looking at subs to be like that kind of deciding factor in how good or bad your team is. But it's kind of the opposite this year so far for me.
I feel like some of it is teams like with the ARs and stuff, they're just kind of disconnected and you're just not in the play. Like a map like Red Card, for example, where trades are so fast, or Skyline.
Well, there's 8 ARs on Red Card. But
but you get my point though of like, if there's a disconnect in the pace of everybody and you're just playing 2v4, 2v3 in a lot of fights, like mathematically it's going to be tough to win those. I think that's why a couple of those teams you're seeing both kind of get slammed. And then in a couple of those, like, you get into search and then whatever AR is holding an off lane or kind of that like pinch hold player and isn't getting the timings or feels the timings and they're having a tough one like Zach and like Dante. It's really, really tough. So I agree with you. I think LAG or
FaZe's AR duo too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, FaZe AR duo is really struggling. So I think C's a good spot for LAG. We all agree. Hopefully they can get some wins, but I feel like LAG is going to need an inspirational losers bracket run at mid-grade. Otherwise, I think they might be a top 12 candidate at the moment as a placement.
LAG and S2.
A team that is not getting top 12, I'd be mind blown if they pulled up to the first event and got top 12, is LA Thieves. To y'all's point, I think this is an S tier team, and I'll go with you, Cap, because you've obviously used to coach these boys. You think probably their biggest issue right now is just.
Well, I didn't coach these guys.
Yeah, but you coach Dan, like
very different.
And Dale. Well, you coached 2 of the 4.
I did not coach Scrap and Hydra.
You're half of them. Okay, half. My bad.
I think they're the best team in the game still.
Yeah.
Second weekend was not as clean, I think, as anyone hoped. They're an LAT families. Anyone thought it would be, I should say, but I don't know. I still think they're the best team, and they're kind of the standard right now.
I think my thing, and Sam degree, is like last weekend they were playing, and they had the problem a little bit the first weekend too. Like they were playing 8 minutes of a 10-minute map, and then just the last 2 minutes are very sloppy, and they're letting teams hang around when they should be winning by 100 and hard point. A couple more rounds in S&D.
Who was their second series opening weekend? It was C9 and who? Do you guys remember? I don't remember that series.
Opening weekend was FaZe.
Was it FaZe? Oh, that's right. Game 5. Yeah, Game 5. Bro, they have not played good ball. I'm going to be honest with you. The only clean series that they have is C9, and that was because they were playing on fucking 900 ping getting chokeslammed. Like, every single series has had, like, some hiccups that don't worry me because I do think that they'll just show up to Madrid and be on point because I think they are ahead right now, and I think they are the best team. But, like, they, online, for what it is worth, have not played good COD. They're still winning the series, but the standard of which this team has been held to open the season, their hard points have been like 245, 250 gruelers for the past like 5 hard point maps. Like their S&D is worrisome. Paco seems to like have the sprints randomly on some of these maps, getting blooded like 3 to 5 times. I don't know, man. Like they had a good gritty control win on Proto, which they should have lost to Rocker as well if Rocker had their heads on straight. Like, again, I know it's online. I'm not going to put a lot of weight into it because I do trust the team. And I do think they're ahead right now, and they are 4-0. But for the standard of which this team is held to in my mind and the fans' mind, I don't think they're definitively like the Don Dada that they're supposed to be right now.
Yeah, I think Scrap said that them being sick all of last week definitely affected
definitely
their decision
sucks,
making.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
and
you
some of
saw the
games-
cracks appearing that first week, though, to Sam's point, right? The C9 series, okay, online
Oh, yeah,
cheese.
for sure.
But the phase series, like, these guys should be close. These guys are getting off to great starts in these maps, and then letting teams come back. To your point about S&D, Sam, I'm going to give you a stat right here on Thieves. These are the lowest, this through 6 maps. Lowest first blood percentage at 36.36. Super low. They're winning 80%. Yeah, and they're winning 80% of those rounds. So, like, one's got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, something's got to give there.
It's all on Paco. It's like a random AR pick from someone griefing, or it's Paco trying to get a blood. And like when it's working, it looks great. But then it'll be like it was against Phaser, and he dies 6 times straight for first blood, and it's like, well, shit. Like that's happened twice now.
In all the watch parties, I'm like, yo, Sam, is Paco about to just headbang mid and vault and just dive first blood and just every round?
Exactly. Like they play the mid rounds like well, like they are all good search players, but like first bloods is definitely a big issue with their team right now for sure.
I think that number is 36 is historically low. It's not.
Listen, I'm not like doom and glooming LAT. I still am going to pick them to win Major 1, but again, my only concern is that it's not clean COD at all. Every series has been close.
The break's good for them. I know they've got at least one European player, so I don't know if Paco is going home for a while for Christmas.
Home. He's already home.
So they probably won't pick up until probably after. But yeah, if they clean things up, to your point, Sam, they're my easy favorite for Major 1. If some teams catch up to them and they're still kind of playing the sloppy one like this, like they may toss this split away when I feel like they had it in their hands, at least off the rip. That's like, to your point, that's the standard we hold them to. It is what it is when you're in that spot.
Yep.
Miami. This is a weird team, Miami Heretics, to place. I don't. What do you guys think? Is it a B team? Is this a C team? Like,
I'm gonna let Cap take this one.
I think it's got to be C, dude. I think there's. I was actually just looking at all the teams we got left. I think there's a lot of these teams is jam packed into probably C tier.
Yeah.
Where like I think Falcons are gonna be alone in D tier, and I think they should be. But then I think there's going to be like 4 or 5 teams just here in C tier where I think it's just toss-ups every series. We don't know what to expect of these guys at all.
They've lost 3 game 5s in a row, Miami.
Their S&D is fucking abysmal.
It's really bad.
It's so bad. If they were 50-50, they could win these series, but like their S&D sucks, dude.
Listen to this stat, Sam. First blood, 51%. Pretty good. First blood win percentage, 51%.
Oh, that's terrible.
And just to be clear, chat, historically, and again, it averages by COD, you want that number to be in the 70s. Usually high 70s, like 3 out of 4 rounds you get first blood is usually like elite S&D team. But yeah, your point, Sam, they are.
I mean, dude, we saw them play the best S&D team in the game in Ultra, and they got when I say speed ran in 2 searches, I mean, I blinked and those maps were over.
But that's the frustrating thing because they took Toronto to 5. And you could argue maybe Toronto on the back end of that series, like after they lost, I think Toronto lost to control and the reverse sweep threat was in at that point. Because Miami's control has been very good. Vault control has been very good and kept them in it. And the skyline was gritty. But yeah, no. But this and these were 6-1. So.
Yeah. I think Javi provided a lot of IGL like comms, especially in search, and now it's kind of unlucky to make these calls, and I don't know if that's, if Real needs to step up moving forward and make some of these calls in search, but from what I know about how they used to play search, Javi was a big, route caller. Hey guys, we're gonna bang out A, this, stuff like that. So maybe that's what we're seeing, but yeah, their search has been really brutal.
I think that is just the number one thing with them because I actually like their respawn has been serviceable. But yeah, their search, bro, when you're a mid-pack team, like if you're not going to out-talent these, like the majority of the teams that are near you, search and destroy is the backbone. Like look at Boston, look how high they are strictly on search. Like you're not looking at the players on that team compared to the players on Miami, like clear talent diff. It's just the fact that Boston's winning search and destroys on a regular basis and is able to end these extended series in game 5s or, bounce back in a game 2 if you lose game 1. So if their search is going to be as bad as it has been, I can't put them anywhere near B, A, anything like that. Like they got to be down there because that's what's going to separate these teams.
Yeah.
The person in my chat to P80 asking, will Super replace Lucky when he gets his visa approved? That's a great question. Obviously, we'll see. I mean, Lucky and Metals have been the 2 weak players. Real has been fantastic.
Bro,
this
Rancor
year.
and Real are shooters. They
for
are
sure.
good as fuck.
Yeah. On my fantasy team, Rancor, I love it.
They are good as
I
fuck.
could have both there. I was trolling. It's all good. Yeah. I think Miami got to get some wins now. They play FaZe. The huge match in the minor tournament. Like, someone is going to leave that match just down tremendously fucking bad about the rest of the split. And then they got Cloud9, Thieves, and Carolina. So they have to win all three to guarantee winners bracket. Going to be tough. I think that Thieves match, if they can get some momentum. We saw Miami last year get that random momentum against Optic, like with that 3-0 they got online, and then promptly went to the first event and got 3-0 out of the tournament without winning a map. We'll see if maybe one of these early series in January can turn things around.
Right now, who do you guys have winning, FaZe or Miami? Right now.
FaZe.
FaZe.
Just because I expect them to scam less than S&D.
Yep.
I think Miami's got to, I don't know. They got to abandon. Maybe Super's the answer, but I don't think the all Spanish gimmick is really gonna like work. We talked about it before some episodes ago, but like Rancor Real are good pieces. Okay, now you can like they're really good players. They shoot really well. Like we could build a good team around those two guys, and you know maybe there are other Spanish players out there. Maybe it's Super, maybe it's someone else, but I don't know if Lucky and Metals are those two guys for the game to really like reach their potential.
The one weird factor about this team, I will say, and we'll probably talk about this a bunch in January, is Toronto Ultra is technically hosting Major One, but they have no Spanish players on their team. And their rival organization, Miami Heretics, might be the team that gets the most support at that event. There's going to be a very odd dynamic to think about.
Miami's hosting 2 events this year.
Miami?
Yeah, they got Fort Lauderdale and they got fucking Barcelona or Madrid.
No, Madrid's a Toronto event.
They're gonna have the crowd.
Yeah, but you keep it's like saying the Red Sox were hosting a fucking major in New York. Like what?
No, it's not because it'll be the Yankees.
Where it's the fan base. Though. It doesn't matter who's hosting.
Are you good, bro? Lock in, man.
No, I am locked, but that was the point I was trying to make. It's like Miami Heretics getting a free home event even though they're not hosting it. Anyway, weird. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Minnesota Rocker. I think this team kind of fun to watch. I kind of expected maybe to disappoint early. They had a good first week, a bad second week. I don't know. What do you think this is one of those C tier teams? What do you guys think? Sorry, JKap.
No, I think they're B.
Think they're B?
I think they're in B.
What do you think, Sam? Why?
Well, they have decent search. The 2 Game 5 wins, obviously, to open the league was great. Honestly, this is going to sound so stupid. The way that they lost against LAT makes me higher on them. Like, they put themselves in a position to at least extend that series, if not win it. I think that they have great pieces, and I think that our idea of this team when we did our preseason opinions on the teams was fucking spot on. These guys have zero fucking clue what to do sometimes in respawn, dude.
Yeah.
Zero
we did
fucking clue.
Clock it pretty good.
Zero clue. There was a moment in that LAT control and protocol where they could have just won the game and they just scattered like ants, dude, and just did 4 different things and ended up costing them the map. But I like this Rocker team. I think that they got the talent. I think that they're good at search. I think Paul's been great in S&D for them. I think Gio's not underwhelming so far, but not as good as I had hoped him to be right now. I think Nero is disgusting at this game. I think it's the same as last year. I think Nero is super underrated again. So I think I would put them in B. I think they're definitely overperforming right now for me from where I had them preseason at least.
Chelly, what do you think?
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning. If Nero can be consistent in this COD, because I think he had consistency issues last couple of years, that this team could really, really shine, especially in respawns. And Nero's proving us that he can be that consistent player as of so far. Sometimes you got, Gio and Estriel's lack of, league veteranness, kind of showing through, but you kind of have Paul X hopefully, soothing out some of these errors that are coming up. Because Nero is everything right now for this team, especially. because Esriel does have those down games. I think we all kind of see it. We'll see him on red card, 15 and 30, which you can have if you have a guy like Nero shooting the way he does, because they're still winning these games. Like the game Esriel went double neg on red card, they won the game.
Yeah.
Like Nero dropped, I forget what Nero dropped, like 38, 40 kills. So I'm really high on this team. I think they're easily
Wait, you
beaten.
think it was on Vault? Actually, I don't think it was on red card, right? Or point you talking about?
He might have had one on Vault as well, but the one I'm referring to was on red card. So my bad, that's true.
Are you sure? Because I don't think they won a red card.
I think it was on Vault.
Yeah, it might have been on Vault, but he definitely did go double neg on red card.
Was it the LAT series where Dill got that blessed P3 spawn to hold when it went down to like the last 10 seconds of the game? Was that Rocker? On the red card. Remember what I'm talking about then? When Dill spun stage on red card. Was that against Rocker?
Yeah, I think it was,
right?
That was the first map of that series.
Bro, they should have won the control. Like if Dill doesn't get that spawn, like that might be a Rocker win, because that ended up they just hold for P4. Like that series could have went 5 easily, bro. Like I think this Rocker team has been definitely better than I expected personally.
Yeah, so we liked him in B, right? Is what we said.
Yeah,
I want him in B. I don't know what Cap wants.
We can put him B. I think they're in that group of teams in C tier I was talking about.
Yeah.
Like I think again comes back to putting FaZe in B. Like I think FaZe has been playing sloppy, but like I think Rocker's more of a 50-50 with LAG Miami than FaZe. Rocker, I do think they're talented. I don't think they're playing very well though. We're talking about this potential, like Sam, you're saying they could have gone game 5 versus LAT. Well, they also only 2 wins are game 5 round 11s. Like that
is true.
There's a million hypotheticals in every series. This one play could be this, that, whatever.
That's
but like these guys are they got by the skin of their teeth for their 2 wins, and they're that close to being 0-4. And then if they're like, I don't know, I think B tier, I would need to see more kind of consistency in their play style. To put them there, just put them above the Miamis and LAGs, because I just think they're in that category where I don't have expectations for these guys right now. They can come out and look good, or they could just come out and just be running around looking completely incompetent.
The only counter argument I have to that, which I do agree with, like the overall point, is that the only thing separating these mid-pack teams is the game 5s, because we've seen like fucking 10 of them already in 2 weeks. Like we've had like I think 3 or 4 game 5 round 11s, if not more. Like that really is the deciding factor, is these game 5 and how good or bad these teams are at search. And Rocker has shown that they have the capability of winning that. Like Miami's lost 2 of them. I think Vancouver has lost 2 of them. Boston's won 2 of them. Like there's so many game 5s and so much clutch factor in these S&Ds that's why I have Rocker higher, because they're the team that is ending closing them. They're getting there and they're winning them.
I do think over a bigger sample size, there is something to be said about a team who always wins a game 5, always loses a game 5, but their 2 game 5 round 11 wins were the first 2 days of the season. 2 of the first 3 days. I don't remember when their matches were. So they're maybe they are icy. Maybe that will be a thing. We look back in a few months, these guys clutch up game 5s.
Yeah,
this is who they are. But for me right now, I view those as just more 50-50s, especially because with this specific team, we've kind of been saying, I don't trust their play styles to be consistent. They won those round 11s, but if I'm not trusting their respawn decision making, I can't always trust them in round 11s right now.
That's fair. I mean, we are just doing it right now, though. I think it's a little bit of a different thing.
If you guys,
I think in the long term, I do agree with you.
If you guys all like them B, we can put them there. I don't know.
Yeah, I see your point.
I think they be more than Miami and LAG have.
So they may slide to C. So this is the part of this cap. Maybe the issue with doing it right now is that their schedule in January is probably potentially one of the harder schedules. They have a big match against LAG momentum-wise to start off the minor tournament. And then obviously we'll see what they can place off that. I think tomorrow if they played LAG, they would beat them, but maybe not, because LAG are also a tough out team. So maybe it's a coin flip series. Then you come back and you play Toronto, FaZe, and Vancouver. And they're now 2-2. So if you go on a bad sprint here and you lose all 3, you're suddenly in losers bracket after a 2-0 start, the split. So I think Minnesota is a team that's super under the microscope the next 3 weeks, because they got a very tough, not easy January. And this team that I think we feel good about in S&D, even though their respawn hardpoint map pool is tiny. Like it can go south very quickly for them for January if they stack a bunch of L's here.
For context, because you said LAG, they played LAG and I pulled it up. Minnesota won 252-43 map 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, super close.
3-2 control.
Yeah.
6-5.
And a 6-5 S&D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that to me is like you can't tell me these guys are clear cut better than LAG. That's my logic in putting them in that same tier. But at the end of the day, they are 2-2. LAG's 0-4. So like I get both sides, but
In the long term, I agree with you. But for the criteria of the tier list, though, we can't go from like situation to situation and move the goalposts. That's why, again, if we're doing it for right now, I think Rocker is in B. But I agree with you on the overall sentiment of the team in the long term of the season for sure.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, Cabot. I think when we redo this before or after Madrid, I think you may end up being correct. And now we're still giving them the flowers, but Dan and the boys got to make sure they use this time correctly because they need to expand their hardpoint map pool. Obviously, a couple of those lists are close, but they're a 2-0 vault team, but they're not going to play that map now. People are kind of on them, so they got to find wins elsewhere in that map pool and can't just rely on S&D to carry you in every series. We've seen that with teams like Vegas Legion a couple of years ago. Like, something to get you so much mileage. So, leave them in.
Last year, real quick. Last year, Seattle Surge, their best hardpoint was Vista, and what else were they gross at? Were they gross at 6-star?
They were okay
good at, I mean, it depends. They were really good at Terminal Stage 1 before it got removed. They were like the best Terminal everything team. Their Vista was really good. I think those were like their two like staple maps.
I'm trying to like draw comparisons because we've been doing it for quite some time. Like this Rocker team just reminds me a lot of last year's Seattle Surge, and we said at the beginning they would be headbanging shit. And obviously they still kind of have been, and it leads to a pretty inconsistent play style, and that's why they're winning these map 5s and they're 2-2. So if they are just the Seattle Surge from last year but with ice, it's going to be really interesting seeing these teams in majors where they just go on these crazy runs where they keep respawns close, they win like a grind out hard point or
I think that's the Boston Breach formula. I think exactly what you're saying right now is
Breach
Boston
more so than Minnesota Rocker. I think it's more Minnesota Rocker than Breach.
I think Breach has more consistency in respawn, but I think it depends on like who you're expecting them to play against. Like if I'm looking at the tier with like Boston against Ravens, Optic, LAT, Toronto, whatever, I think that is a similar formula as Rocker is to the rest of the league, if that makes sense. Like I trust Boston Search with like grindy respawns against those caliber of teams, but because they're playing better COD right now. But with Rocker, I trust their S&D when like grinding out respawns with like Miami, LAG, like those styles. So I think it's like different levels, but the same concept in my opinion.
Yeah, because this could very easily be like to get even more of a random reference. It could be more like the London Royal Ravens situation from 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember. London got off to a hot start and then they completely cratered like the rest of the season after that hot start. I don't think that's going to happen to this Minnesota Rocker team, but I want to see a little bit more in respawn before I like feel confidence beating. And I think we're going to find very quickly in general whether these guys are for real or the 2 losses they had last week were indicative of kind of where this team is at, and they're going to be more of a C tier or D tier team. I want to move on to a team that has disappointed me greatly, and I know they had kind of a funky first week, but even that second week, man, I mean, we got to talk about Dante, bro. What's up with these
let's rank them
cats?
first before we start talking about that. Yeah. I think they're C.
I think they're C too. Do you guys agree? Cap?
I know their first week you can't go off of, but they beat Rocker. It was a good series, and they got reverse swept by Ravens in like a pretty clean reverse sweep.
Dude, I think they're D.
This is so tough.
No.
They're not D, bro. Vegas, no.
Hey,
no.
Okay,
look at the teams that are left, bro. Like,
I would have D, bro.
I would have had these guys top of C. I think they like with Minnesota and C. I think C9 would probably be the top of C.
That's kind of how I'm feeling right now too.
But now that we put Minnesota in B, I feel like we have to put these guys in B.
I got a Benjay solution. Are you guys down to your point, Cap? And we all kind of agree that all these teams at the back end of BC are all in the same tier. Do we just put FaZe in B by themselves because they're just a weird enigma in this, and we just kind of have this hodgepodge of teams in C that have all circularly beat each other?
I mean, that's what I think
I could be okay
are
with
right
that.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be. If you want to move Rocker down and then just everyone else be in C, I'm okay with that.
It's like Cloud9 somewhere. I just don't like. I don't know how to order
That's insane.
Cloud9.
C9 and D is fucking.
I
Dude,
don't. I don't think they're D tier,
C9 and
but
D is nuts.
it's
Dude, we
it's.
watch
don't
all the
know, dude.
games. You guys have watched the same matches as me. What have you guys seen that makes you feel that they deserve C tier?
Because they
And
almost beat. They
Right.
almost beat Carolina. They've almost reverse swept them.
Mac and Kremp.
Actually, no. I
are
think they won the S&D. I think it was-
No, they almost 3-0'd him. even.
Yeah,
Mac and Kremp are legitimately good right now, and if Sib and
they
Attach
get reverse swept.
continue to
Actually,
be this terrible,
Yeah,
they
that's
should
what I'm
just
saying.
retire. They've been getting pissed. They're terrible.
Bro, Mac is their best player right now, and he looks fucking good,
Yeah.
dude. Mac looks good.
Like I think everyone when they built this team was kind of like, oh, Attach and Sib, you know what you're gonna get. Mac and Kremp are the big question marks. Well, Mac and Kremp, a little more so Mac than Kremp, but like I don't want Kyle to get lost here. Kyle's playing really well too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Those guys are
he's a
hard
little under
carrying
the
this
radar
team
right
right
now,
now. And like I don't know, Dill and Sib got to figure out their situation because
bro, Dante got the super sprints. He's got
Yeah.
overdrive on. He's dying. He died 110 times, which I think was 20 more than any of his teammates
It's
in
crazy.
their. Was it the Ravens series? I think, bro, it was unbelievable.
Sammy heard you say best way to break a slump was to kill horror, and then he tried, and then he.
I mean,
unfortunately-
genuinely, bro, like it
Yeah.
is. But when you're running it down like that, I don't know what to tell you, bro. He has been miserable, which is tough because I'm a big Dante fan. He's disgusting. Like, obviously, I played against him. I know what he's capable of, but right now he is super struggling, and it's costing them because they're, again, you look at their ARs. You would think that those, again, to Cap's point, you would think that that's the stable backbone of the team, but it's the exact opposite. Mac and Kremp have been slamming. And then you're looking at Dill and Dante to do something. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
We've always
you got to think.
Go ahead, Cap.
My bad. You do got to think I think they have to figure out eventually, like particularly Dante, because Dante's probably been one of the worst players in the league. But like,
Oh no, he's statistically
Statistically,
definitely like
might be
bottom
the
of
worst
5.
player
yeah,
in the
but
league.
we have years of data, like not data, but like the stats, the watching him play. Just like this guy's a good player. This guy shoots extremely well against the best all the time. So it's like at some point he's got to figure it out for sure. And Dill's not as drastic as Dante, but he also has to play better. And I just think, like, I actually think Mac and Kremp being as good as they are, like, is more a positive sign for this team than a negative sign for this team, compared to what at least I expected before the season.
So the MO and Dante for his first 2 years in the league.
Sib is Dante chat and Dill
Yeah,
is
Sib.
attached.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I should go back and
Sib's
take part of
MO for the first couple of years has been in the league, and I was even like this in Challengers too when he was on Atlanta FaZe Academy. Great respawn player, maybe when he's in his top form, top 5 respawn player per game. But like Dante and respawn just take over a player in respawn, like we saw at times last year before. But S&D's always been kind of a question mark. In those first 2 years in the league, well, the Seattle team wasn't that great in S&D. We just didn't know. And then last year, he was statistically not a good search player on a good S&D team. And now their S&D they're 3-2, so they have a winning record in the game mode, and he's statistically maybe the worst player in S&D right now. So yeah, I mean, Dill obviously has to step up, no doubt about that. But we need to see more from Dante. Dante's on this team. We weren't expecting Dante in their preseason to be just perennially 0.99 type player. We were expecting Dante to be a guy that was dropping 35 on map. You know what I'm saying? 40, like take over hard carry sometimes if other guys aren't playing well. We just haven't seen it from him yet. And if we won't, then I think the C9 team is going to be stuck in this pack of C teams, essentially.
Shout out Mac, man. Shout out
Mac.
Mac's been
Shout
good,
out
bro.
Mackenzie Mills.
I
He's
thought
been very good.
And
thought-
Kremp,
very
don't
good.
forget Kremp, man.
Yeah, no, you're right.
okay.
You're right. But stand
I
out.
was spewing Kyle Proppy on the show. I was.
Yeah.
I said he looked great.
That's
no,
good.
this has been good for Mac.
Mac's been the bigger star, but Kyle's like doing his Mac's not 1v4. They're kind of 2v4 right now.
Yeah. It's just the bigger story isn't Kremp playing well. It's how bad his ARs are.
Yeah.
So no one's paying attention to it.
It is kind of the trend with a lot of teams. ARs are
getting shit on.
Jackal might just be OP.
Might just be the best shit, man.
Oh, some AR propaganda. But for Cloud9, they got Vancouver to start off on the minor tournament. We'll talk about Vancouver here in a sec, but that's a real close one. And then they got LAG, Miami, Atlanta face. So I think there's opportunities for Carolina to get winners bracket, or sorry, for C9 to get winners bracket at their 1-3 spot right now. But they're gonna have to probably win out or get lucky. So we shall see. But they're stuck in that pack of teams. Probably another team that's probably stuck in that pack, the Vancouver Surge.
Oh man.
Start with you, Cap. Maybe I thought they'd play a little bit better than this. I feel like they've been pretty underwhelming. Only one was against Miami Game 5. They lost 2 other Game 5s to Toronto and Boston, but the Optic series wasn't good.
They did lose a Game 5 round 11 to Toronto.
True.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, they just, I don't know. They look pretty mid-pack. The slang aspect we've been talking about is coming back to bite them in the ass. Hicksy had a pretty good first weekend and then a pretty disastrous second weekend. And in a current meta where SMGs seem to be frying everywhere else, you can't really be having that. So I think these guys are just in that mid-pack of C tier, and just, everyone in that tier, if they play right now, in my mind, it's just a toss-up 50-50. Who wins? Who shows up that day? Who gets better sleep the night before and plays well? Because I haven't seen anything from these teams that says they're like above average.
Where do you guys want to put them then? I put C9 behind.
Are we ranking them within the tiers?
I mean, if we want to attempt to, we can just say no and just say I
don't ever do that. That's why I'm asking. I just throw them in C, bro. Put them in C.
I mean, I'm down for that. It's just.
I think the point of a tier list should be not rank them within the tier.
Yeah, but the problem is people don't fucking realize that.
You might as well just make a 1 to 12 list.
Yeah. I agree. Vancouver, they need to get more from Abuza. I know he tweeted.
I'm not hearing that dumb shit. He literally has the kill record. I'm not hearing no fucking can't get a kill from where I am. You have the kill record online. I'm not hearing that. Come on.
04's struggling in search. I think he's dropping a 0.5 so far. So.
Actually, I don't think he's dropping a 0.5. He's got a 0.82 in search right now, which is 38th.
I'm looking at the stat dog. Maybe I'm tripping.
Maybe it's stat drop, but let's breaking point as him in the 0.8.
I was about to say, point.
I mean,
that's why I saw that. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, but I just think the weird thing for Vancouver is I actually don't think their S&D is that bad. They lost a bunch of like red cards, and they've been mostly like when they play Real One, the map's out now. Skyline S&D, like they looked good. I think they're just stuck in this pack. They're just kind of 50-50. They've lost a couple of Game 5s. But like my concern with Vancouver, as I said last year, and it's the same thing this year, like maybe they find some consistency against these mid-pack teams, but they're going to play a FaZe, they're going to play an Optic, they're going to play a Thieves, they're going to play a Toronto. It's an auto 3-0-3-1 where at least one person on the team is just not going to show up. The same thing last year. Every time we thought, they might be in a position to pull an upset at EWC at Major 1 and Major 3 or Major 4, this team always found a way not to do it. And until I see it, I'm just not going to believe. So they have their matches coming up. They play Cloud9. That one is a complete and utter toss-up. I don't know. I don't know how you handicap who is a favorite in that one. Good luck. And then if they, coming in, they got Vegas. That should be a W, which will get them to 2 and 3. Go ahead, Cap.
What you were saying there, I think, in that matchup, though, I think C9, like what I said, I think C9 has had positive signs overall. I think I take C9 because I have to assume Sib and Attach have like some positive progression to the mean here.
Yeah.
They've been like Vancouver. I don't know if anyone's like wildly underperformed their individual expectations, which is like my big issue with them is what they're doing. What'd you say?
I said Abuza is the only one. I think the other three
is like the only one, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think his play style is kind of a result of his teammates. I don't know. I guess you could say the same for C9's ARs, but I don't know. I just think like Dante being a 0.73 or whatever it is, 0.72, one of them, like that has to improve at some point. That's why I feel more optimistic about those guys compared to like a Vancouver where maybe Abuza does improve. Maybe he's back above a 1 KD in that area, like after the break, and he's a little better, but like I don't think that's going to be enough to move the needle for this team. Whereas like Sid going from a 0.7 to a 1 would be a drastic difference for that team. You know?
Mm.
Like that's my point is he's just been so bad, like you have to assume that comes back a little bit.
You're just saying the ceiling's higher for
Yeah,
that team than
that's
Vancouver.
I agree with
yeah,
that.
that's
I agree
probably
with
a
that.
better summary of what I'm trying to say. I'm just not articulating it well at all.
Because like I said, these combination of players, and Charlie, we saw this when he was on Toronto, and they obviously were a good team. But these other combination of players, especially 04 and Abuza in their team last year, they were just not an upset team. They were a team that, like, we felt good going to an event. They were like solidly top 6. They played not bad at EWC, for example, last event of the year. But it's just like we never expect them to win a big series, and potentially
they would just play bully ball. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Like they made the game pure chaos, but that's how they scrimmed and that's how they played and that's what they understood. That there's just no consistency to it. That's why there's no upset potential, because it's what I said in the preseason show is that shit does not work against teams that track name and have a good system. Period. And when you play against teams in the lower half of the league that you can run around on and fuck up spawns and like just get lost on the map, maybe their comms aren't the best. Like that's when teams like Seattle last year and at this point this year, that's when they thrive. And that's why there's no upset potential.
Yeah, I like, again, Vancouver and C, Vegas, Carolina, Minnesota, last 3 matches in the league. There are chances there. Carolina, if they could somehow, obviously Vegas they should be. If they don't beat Vegas, Carolina, if they could somehow find a way to take Carolina out and then go in that Minnesota series being in like a win and in situation, like maybe they can take that momentum. But I feel like, oh man, there were a lot of, the problem is now looking at this, there are a lot of teams that might finish 3 and 4 in the split. And someone is going to get screwed.
Yeah.
Someone is
all
getting
these
screwed.
game 5s too. All these game 5s is making this the map counts for everyone crazy.
Could be a
Interesting
tiebreaker
finish
match
here.
too. We could get I mean, there's a condition we've seen in the past. They've changed the rules now, so for like some it just ends up being a coin flip, but it could be a tiebreaker match for one team making winners, one team making losers. So Vancouver might be a candidate in there. Let's move on. We're gonna talk about probably 2 teams back to back that we find are in S. Optic. Obviously, a little bit of roster drama last week. We talked about. We actually did not talk about in the last episode.
We didn't even talk about
we recorded it literally 30 minutes before all the news broke. And I guess if you want to talk about it a little bit in the context of how I guess Kyler played, who played this last week, obviously Pred stepping away for personal reasons, been much discussed on the internet as to what's going on there. Hook's come in. They were able to get victories this weekend. I wouldn't say that it was A+ con, but it was good enough to pass through. Everybody in my chat is being an Opticator and wants to put them top A. I think y'all agree, probably yes, because we really feel this.
I'm putting them in A.
You think they're A?
I'm putting them in A.
I'm putting a mess.
Ooh, since you started this, Sam, I'll let you make first argument, and then Cap can respond.
I think their cleanest was it with their. Hold on, I gotta pull up their schedule. I black out when it comes to these schedules. Was it their last series that looked good? Sorry, I'm fucking.
They played. They went to Game 5 at LAG. 3-1
yeah, they
against
beat
Vancouver.
like C9 when they were whatever happened there. What was their last one before they went to the break? Oh, LAG Game 5. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I think they have 2 of the best players in the game. I think Ken is still underperforming for me. Not that it's enough to the point where it's like costing them because they're still winning series. But I just don't know, dude. But the issue is if I use quality of opponent as the argument, then I look at a team like Boston and I can't put them in A, or like Ravens. Like if I choose to use the quality of opponent argument, then I have to apply it to everybody here. But I feel like if I look at Toronto and I look at LAT, who are going to be the other 2 S tier teams, I'm taking both of them to beat Optic right now.
Cap, your thoughts?
I think the Hugh pickup might have actually, like to what Sam said about them having 2 of the top 5 players, maybe whatever. I don't know. I think the Hugh pickup might have actually like unlocked Bashy to like a different level. That guy was frying on their second weekend of matches.
It really was.
I think Shotzi's unbelievable at this game. Like this might be the best he's ever looked, and that's saying something for how good he's been the past 5 years, whatever it's been. I don't know. I think this Hugh pickup might actually unlock an even higher ceiling because I do think he has a more selfless play style compared to Pred, which might be able to unlock Dashy like this for the long term. If we want to put him A, I mean, I don't have a big gripe whether they're at like A tier or S tier here. I think they're like pretty close there. I don't really care either way. I just think with Dashy and Shotzi the way they've been playing, I just think this team's potential is unreal. I mean, we'll see how it all smooths out with Duke and Ken underperforming still, but I mean, two guys frying that hard is just that's tough for any team to beat.
I just have a different dynamic with Kyler. It's kind of weird to see the switch as fast as it was with AG to Kyler, because like Kyler's search is really good.
Yeah.
I will say that
I don't think AG's was. Sorry, keep cutting you off, but
no, you're good. I was like not cutting you off, but regardless, I do have a little concern with the Kyler Ant duo right now, the sub duo, in that they both kind of take like a lot of routes, and it kind of looks like on the minimap sometimes they're like one will hit the route and the second guy's hitting the same route, and it's just redundant and not effective. So I think
what'd you say?
The two subs, Kyler and Ant.
Like that was like that shit worked.
They're both these big ratty guys who are always taking these routes, shooting you in the back, being annoying. Which like you need someone doing that, and it is good to have both people doing that. They just have to recognize, hey, if one's already doing it, I can't do it.
I think that's just like a new team thing, though. At the same time,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like I do think in time they'll figure that out, because I mean these matches that we watched were on 2 days of practice. Yeah. But I mean, that is kind of both their plays all at the same time. So I do want to see that smooth out. But I don't know. I think the potential in this team's incredible. So they're one of my top 3. I guess we can put them top of A. That's fine with me.
I think my only argument is like, if we're talking game modes, Toronto, best S&D team right now, I would pick them to win 2 searches against anybody right now, regardless of LET or Optic. I would pick Toronto to win 2 searches. And I think LET is the better hardpoint team. Can Optic win one? Absolutely. But I would pick them to win like both of them. If I would consider it an upset if Optic were to win them. So I would be comfortable picking Optic against Ravens and Boston in this situation, which again, I would have Ravens and S, but different combo. I have more faith right now in the way that Toronto's played in the series and the quality of the teams that they have played in LAT than I do Optic right now.
Wait, and I don't know. Would have Optic and Ravens and S, you said?
No. I would have Ravens and S and Optic and A. But that's just a whole different thing from the beginning of the show. But I would trust Optic in A tier right now against those teams rather than S tier. Maybe I'm hating, but
no, I mean, like I said, I don't feel too strongly. Maybe the way I look at tier lists is like you have to weigh like what we've seen from them, but you also have like the way I look at it is like, okay, if I have to pick a match right now, knowing what I know about these guys,
look at the guy.
Like who do I think is going to win a matchup? Like that's the way I kind of evaluate like where these teams should be, which is like kind of why I was like defending FaZe a little bit, because like they haven't looked good, and I agree they haven't looked good. At the end of the day, like no one on this podcast is picking any of these C tier teams to beat them.
No,
like I don't even think.
I think we're splitting hairs, to be fair, but
yeah, I'm just saying
that's how it goes with the tier list stuff.
That's
we have
the way like
hairs.
you make a tier list. Otherwise, we might as well just look at the standings, and that's the tier list.
I think I might be able to. I think I might be able to end this combo by saying one thing. You have 2, in my opinion, of the best players in the game on one team. Easily top 5, maybe top 2 of the top 3. We know how good Dashy and Shotzi are. They're an S tier team. I think it's just that simple. I think we're overthinking a little bit.
If we were to put them in, if we put them in S, I'm not going to be fucking pissed.
Okay, yeah.
I think they could easily be an S tier team, but I just personally wouldn't put them there right now.
Here's what I would do: if there was an event tomorrow, would you guys say Thieves Optic or Thieves Toronto Grand Finals?
Thieves Toronto.
Thieves Toronto.
Yeah, keep them A. Now that we talked about it more,
I think we can A. I know chat's gonna be like Carolina. I just like, to Sam's point, and let's go ahead. No, finish your thought, Cap.
My bad. I keep doing this, but I think talking it out more made me realize that I do want to see them with more practice, and that I actually do think that like playstyle issue with Kyler and Ant, like I do think they'll fix it. So maybe I was kind of saying S tier based on the fact that I think they will. But I think we do need to see it because like right now there's a tournament that like they're still working on like a week worth of practice. Like
Yeah, that's why it's hard to judge them with everything. Like what you said is just like a product of being a new team and not understanding like how they want to play it. Which again, like I know everyone's gonna freak out about where we're putting everybody, but like there's a lot of nuance and like asterisks that go into every single one of these teams and where we're putting them. Like it's very hard to talk about Optic in comparison to LAT and Toronto because they're a newer team. They don't have the practice, they don't have the reps. Like it's hard to talk about C9 because they didn't fucking play 2 series. It's hard to talk about FaZe because they're all dropping 0.5s. Like a lot of this shit is just like it's just hard to talk about and be like 100% accurate or objective about it. It's just how it is.
I would say it's for Optic. We didn't really talk about this with Thieves, like the Rewind situation, because Thieves were a good Rewind team. For Optic, they didn't really play Rewind at all. They played like one Rewind S&D they lost. They didn't really play Rewind Hardpoint. So Aussie coming in, like, I mean, back in the day, Brandon was pretty good at that map.
He dropped 52 first map I saw him play yesterday.
I know,
Aaron
like,
is just good.
Kyler,
he went opening, got a 4-piece like it's 2019 again.
I'm trying to remember Kyler. I think Slice was good at that map when Kyler was on Slice off the rip. I don't remember, but obviously Ant didn't play because he was U18. But yeah, no, I feel good about Optic. In A, they are one of your teams I think that has a pretty good chance to win this minor tournament. Their first match will be against Vegas. And then I think they're on the top side of the bracket, right? They have Boston, I think. You see who they play next, right?
I'm trying to remember the color coordination. Was green top side?
Yeah, I think it was top side, right?
Yeah,
The Patty Price thing.
Green down to red.
Yeah.
I think chat right. They play Boston. I'm gonna look it up right now. They are Optic is on the top side. Yeah, they played Boston, then probably Carolina, Vancouver, New York. So I think Optic's got a good chance because they avoid the Thieves, FaZe, Toronto, like clusterfuck at the bottom. And then their online tournaments remaining are Vegas. And then the next two are very spicy. Looking forward to these on January 19th. We've got LA Thieves versus Optic, and January 26th, Toronto versus Optic. So we will find out before that event where we want to rank Optic, Thieves, and Toronto because they are going to all play each other. Online COD, though. We'll see what happens when they go to LAN. Let's talk about Toronto, though. I mean, you couldn't have dreamed of a better start for these Ultra Cats. Obviously, like, for some of the fans in Toronto land, it was tough seeing Scrap go, Envoy go. And they bring in Joe DeCease, they bring in Ben Beans. And to your point, Sam, look like the best search team in the game. And they've just, I don't think, outside of whatever... And they had 2 series in one game 5. The Miami one, we weren't really sweating because Miami looked terrible in S&D. The Vancouver one, if I remember correctly, went to a game 5, round 11 on Protocol. So that one was probably the one they played that was pretty close. But other than that, they've been cruising. Do you guys feel good? We'll start with you, Chelly, Toronto and S.
Yeah, I absolutely love everything I've seen from this team so far. They've exceeded expectations going into any of our pre-season predictions. I mean, Cap, you got to be loving what you're seeing from the kid Joey. I mean, I think that Beans and Joe, obviously not having teamed before, we had a little bit of question mark. We put the question marks next to them. Ben Bean's been so consistent, and then Joe, we really needed him to kind of not slow Toby down, but be able to keep up with Toby when he's going fast, and also shoot and keep up with him, but also slow down at times. So I love what I've been seeing from this team. They're easily S tier for me, and I mean their search with insight too, dude. I'm about to glaze, bro. This team's gross.
I think it's all clicking really well for these guys. I feel like we need an extra tier.
Yo,
Where do you want to put it?
Like,
you want to do the Z tier like I do and get cooked for it?
I feel like there needs to be a tier. Maybe I'm splitting hairs too much. Maybe
S plus.
Maybe I'm.
You want an S plus thing?
Wait, you think they want to be ahead?
No,
what teams are you trying to split into 2 tiers?
Okay, I think not everyone's going to agree. I think Ultra and Optic are in a tier between LAT and then Carolina Boston, which I don't know. People might
LAT in their own tier.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Tier right now.
Boston,
and then Toronto and Optic in a tier below that, And Carolina, Boston. At
We
tier.
are hating
Yeah,
on
but
Ravens.
at that point, might as well just put Optic and fucking S. Like,
Okay, honestly, then maybe Carolina's in that tier with Optic Toronto. But then
You want the
Boston's a
Boston
tier
Wait,
below.
you want to
But
see
then maybe,
that?
I think that's my bigger gripe. No, I don't think that's it though. I don't think they're all S tier.
No, I agree on that. So I'm trying to figure out where you want to put this. And it's the people in chat saying LAT is not that far ahead. I don't know what crack you're smoking. Like, I watch these Thieves guys, and if they actually don't make brain dead decisions chasing red dots, like, they are winning these series very clean. So
Yeah,
I don't really know
I think
what y'all on about that.
I think LAT's clear cut best team in the game right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Other than the S&D stuff, they got to
None of
clean
this
up.
is in order, chat. None of the tier list is in order.
and then I think I don't know. I just think seeing that A tier right now doesn't look right because I think
Boston's in there.
exactly. I don't like.
But guess where they belong?
But I also don't think Ultra is as good as LAT right now. So that's what I'm saying. I think there needs to be a tier between where we can put
I know, but I don't want to
Ultra, Optic, and Carolina. I'll put Carolina in there.
I
Then
just,
Boston.
here's my thing though. As much as I want to anoint Thieves as a team I would pick as a favorite right now, I also don't trust them with knowing the players, and unfortunately, like, they kind of, they're playing with a big kind of ego, which I tip, like that delusional confidence. But I fear like they may not learn that lesson until the first event in which they lose to Toronto in the finals. So that's why I'm not keen on like the S+ thing from my POV. Like, if I'm
I don't think LAT's like been so great that they're above. I don't know. I think there's too many teams and not enough gaps there.
I mean, the problem is we're just looking at this clusterfuck of teams to see, but
Yeah,
That's where they all belong because they're all fucking.
It's not the C tier is the problem.
Cap, I'll say
They're all
this.
mid-pack as shit.
This top 6 is very interesting. It's not a top 6 I would have thought. I would not have thought that FaZe at the bottom of the top 6. I would not have thought that Boston, of all teams, would be in the 6. Carolina, I could have seen it. I just don't like adding another tier here because I just don't think that Thieves are that far ahead. They have the keys in their hand and they could definitely unlock the door and get in and grab the trophy. But Toronto right now could pull up to a series, grind it out, and Neslo the fuck out of them and win. That's the thing. And Optic,
Oh, of course.
but the Optic potentially with Kyler, by the way, whose S&D looks fantastic, could potentially also do the same to Thieves.
You know what I think our issue is? I think that since we already know Falcons are going in D, I think that we put too many teams into C. Maybe we just make a separate tier for Falcons, just call it Falcons.
Love tier list.
And then we can move a couple teams from C down to D and kind of regroup here
works.
because I think what's really confusing us is the fact that it's like that seat. Yeah, it's like Falcons obviously going to be in the top tier, and you don't.
Is fucking insane.
You don't want to put any other team in the Falcons tier.
Okay, we'll talk about Falcons more in depth. But Falcons actually looked better than I thought they would. Granted,
I agree, Cap, but they also are clear cut. Like,
that's so insane.
They're not winning a series for the foreseeable.
Exactly.
Okay, so
like,
are we going to separate C and D now?
No, I think we move everyone from C down.
Okay.
Move FaZe down.
Okay.
Move Boston down.
Yep.
And then move Toronto down. And that's my list. Then we can.
You're doing like this?
That's what. Yeah. Boston down. No. Boston and B.
Boston to B.
Boston to B.
Whoa.
Boston to be Optic and Toronto in a.
That.
Yeah.
Cap say
No. Boston and B, Optic and Carolina up to A.
Oh, so you want to do it like that? It's called.
That's how I.
That's Austin.
That's how I see it.
There you go, Ben. Nice one, Benja. Nice one, Benja.
I don't. Chat saying this is FaZe. I see the logic in this. FaZe in C is just FaZe is the hardest part of this because we just don't know which way this FaZe thing could break. Like, they can come back from this break, they still look bad, and it's just they got to completely kind of 1-A this team in the middle, like early on this year. They come back, they beat Miami, they upset Thieves, and they suddenly make this run, and we're like, FaZe is back. They just had to figure it out. They kind of fuck everything up. I think Boston. I see your thought process on putting Boston in not a tier with Carolina, Optic, in Toronto.
Yeah.
To the point we're on the show. I don't hate this.
I mean, if we really wanted to clean it up a little more, I'd probably just move FaZe up and call it there. But I think this is the more accurate representation of how I actually see the league right now.
So if the teams in A were to play each other, what would your winners be? Like if Toronto
I
played,
don't know. That's why they're all in A.
So it would be much of a toss up for you.
I think they're 50-50s, and I think all the D tiers 50-50s.
Carolina could actually low key. This is an insane take, but like, I could see a world where Carolina win one world win a series of 3 respawns against Toronto or Optic. Like that,
100%.
like yeah, I think it's very doable because unfortunately Optic are one of those teams historically that like are not a big respecter of other teams' best maps. Like they will square up with people who think they're good enough, and that could be a problem in a matchup against Carolina.
This is kind of annoying me. You guys really think Rocker is a whole tier below Atlanta FaZe after what we've seen so far? Like that to me is there's no way Rocker belongs in D with the rest of those teams after
I don't have any faith for and would any of us pick Rocker to beat FaZe, bro?
You're a betting man, Chelly. If I give you even odds, FaZe versus Minnesota right now, who are you putting your money on?
Okay, that's
this is right now
works, bro.
This is
right
how
now
I
online. Right
this
now
is how
online.
I judge tier lists. What you've seen from these teams, what you know about these players. Like, yes, FaZe does not look good, but at the end of the day, they have Simp, Abizi, Draza, and Cell. You know that. You know those are good COD players. Maybe they'll hit their ceilings. Maybe they're on a downhill. Maybe they'll suck now.
Yeah.
But what we know about these guys, are you actually picking Rocker to beat FaZe?
What we've watched this season,
what you know about all 8 players,
I know they're going to down cap. I know we both know that. But right now, if this game was being played in 30 minutes, I'm taking Rocker to beat FaZe.
I would. They play each other. I would love to put money on this.
FaZe in Minnesota.
Yeah, you're gonna give me even odds. FaZe versus Minnesota. I will put a lot of money on that.
If they play in the next 30 minutes and you gave
play on January 19th.
So we're gonna see it very soon. And Chelly might one of you might look really
but it could. But FaZe could have it figured out after the minor. That's my point.
We won't know. We won't.
But that's not what you're asking me. I'm saying if these teams play in 30 minutes after what we've seen in the first couple match weeks, I'm taking Rocker. Yes.
I'm so happy that there's this much parity. This is great for the league.
This
is great for the league. There's this much of an argument for every single team. I love
Last year was a fucking snooze because there were 3 good teams and we're like,
I'm literally fucking licking my lips, dude. I love it.
I mean, I think the real arguments are in that D tier, but I don't think anyone feels strongly about those teams to really.
Because they're all mid.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think anyone feels strongly to try to debate who's actually better in there. That's just toss-ups.
The D tier is going to go this way, chat. Depending on the next 3 or 4 weeks. Some of those teams, we're going to go into Madrid and be like, if they don't manage top 6, like they are changing their roster. And then some of them are going to be like, well, they get a bad draw, they might get screwed, but they should run it. Like that whole group of D teams. And then maybe FaZe, because the FaZe thing, like if they have a bad split, like do they patient or do they shuffle? Like, I don't know. But this to confirm, like are we keeping this LA Thieves S tier team only, or does anyone feel strongly enough to?
I'm putting Toronto in there, but that's up to you.
If
this was my list, I'm putting Toronto in there.
Kelly and Cap, do you have any issue if we put Toronto in S?
I don't have an issue. I don't know. I think it's hard to put them up there.
Chelly, you're the tiebreaker on this one.
Leave them in A. Leave them in A. I do think LA Thieves right now. Now I'm thinking about it in stupid betting format. Thanks, Cap. But yeah, I would say
even money, Chelly. You take Toronto.
Yeah, like dude, now it's on my. You shouldn't have started that.
That's my thing with tier lists. Everyone's like, there's this fine line between what we've seen, but also what you think is about to happen.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like, really hard to, yeah.
If we go off only what we've seen, then yeah, FaZe, it's literally just the standings. FaZe is somewhere near the bottom. But do we really think FaZe is going to be this bad all year? I don't.
So that's why I asked for the criteria of the tier list at the start, because
I mean, it's
very hard because when you argue for different teams' behalf on different tiers,
it makes
them the goalposts of what matters.
I said now because anytime I talk about trajectory, it just ends in tears in my chat. So I'm going to go ahead and stay away from that. Yeah, I'm not talking about trajectory anymore. I think that Carolina, you guys want Carolina in this chat. My only, and then we'll get to our final thoughts on Carolina. The one thing we didn't really talk about with Carolina that I am a little concerned about, same with Thieves, is the S&Ds. They've won a bunch. They've been pretty, like, I think they're 3-2, but their rounds haven't exactly been the cleanest, and I was curious about it, so I just looked at the stat, and they've lost 10 4v3s in 6 maps, which is probably more than you
Carolina
want.
has?
Yeah, so they're like batting 50% basically there, which is, we've seen teams like be in that number and then clean it up, get back to the 70s. But one to watch for Carolina, because I think their hard point map pull and control is good. But like if they start scamming, continue to scam in searches, and when they get to these Game 5 grinders, they toss 1 or 2 rounds away again. We talk about a league of margins. That's how you lose 6-4 when you should have won. That's how you lose 6. That's how you lose 4-6 when you should have won 6-4. So.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking Asriel might get pooped on by the Tiny Terrors if they played tomorrow.
Oh my god.
No, you're walking his back. You're not even holding the line.
No, just the more I think about it, bro.
He's like,
Asriel shooting
like
back.
this is the hard part about the tier list, bro. Again, are we talking about like if I look at Simp, Cell, Draza, and Abizi versus fucking Cammy, Wake, Purge, and fuck, who's their fourth? Snoopy.
Cammy, Wake,
Like
Snoopy.
my heart, I want to pick FaZe, but like I've watched 4 series now up to this point. They look like the inside of my ass. Boston's S&D looks great. I know everyone chat, but how could you? How is Boston better than FaZe? Because I watched the fucking games, bro. Like I like if you're actually analyzing the games and you're not just looking at names on fucking paper. The people in my chat freaking out like at these rankings, I swear they don't watch the matches. Like I don't get it. And like again, there is like there's a hair split at the top for sure. Whether we want to put Ravens in S, Toronto, Optic, like whatever, there's definitely splitting hairs there. But like there's certain teams on here that like it's just clear cut. They're not good. They're not playing good COD.
I just think that's what makes tier lists always so funny and entertaining.
I love interactions.
They're purely opinion based.
Yeah.
Because again, if we go off only what's happened, we'll just roll up the standings. Every tier list will just be the standings. Just like, oh well, how interesting. Yeah. There's no thought into that, This is like what you think is going to happen, what you expect from these teams. Even looking at this, I would still have FaZe above Boston.
I'd still change this, but like if this is as close we're gonna get to agreement, it's fine.
What would you do, Sam?
I would put I'm putting Ravens in S. I don't give a fuck.
Whoa.
I'm putting Ravens in S.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there on Ravens in S.
Fine.
So this was like I think my orchestrating this current list, and you would have Ravens in S, and then what else?
I would probably have because it's so hard, bro. I would probably have. I don't want 3 teams in S though. Is the issue?
Exactly.
Well, last year we had basically had 4 teams in fucking S. So
probably add a tier above.
All right, more tiers.
I would get rid of the middle. I would have Boston and FaZe in the same tier. I would put Boston ahead of FaZe. I would have all of the fucking shitters in the bottom still.
Yeah.
And then I would have probably LAT, Optic Tour. The top is difficult, bro. I'm putting Ravens in S for sure.
Okay. You're that confident that Ravens are better than Carolina, or not Carolina. Ravens are better than Toronto and Optic. I'll ask you the same question. Or Optic versus Ravens tomorrow. Straight up bet, me versus you. You're taking Ravens even money?
The way they've been playing, I could be confident picking Ravens to win that.
That's fine, but I would definitely still.
That's fine. You can take it.
I'm taking Optic.
I get the betting thing, but Ravens hardpoint has genuinely been ridiculously impressive.
No,
the way that they're playing, Gwyn and Austin are 2 of the best hardpoint players in this game right now, and it's fucking. They're playing lights out COD. Their search mid round has been great. Like look at their team. They're obviously going to be great in search. Their control, which I know Ben's going to enjoy this. Their control hasn't it's not the greatest thing in the world, but when your hardpoint looks the way that it has, and you have a search and destroy backbone to fall on, and you're playing well together, which they are, you can beat LAT, Toronto, and Optic. So if it's even money, I would not have a problem tomorrow taking them to win.
I'm taking Optic. We shouldn't be talking about betting an Optic anyway, but I'm putting the house on Optic.
Jesus Christ!
Why should we not talk about that, Ben?
What's wrong with that, Ben? What happened?
Great question, boys.
Yeah,
great question.
What's wrong with betting the house on Optic Gaming?
I don't know, chat. Chat. What do you think the issue is?
Look,
dude, Ben, it's my fucking job to never mind, bro. Just
oh fuck.
All right, but can we finish this?
Chelly has to do this shit.
Dude, I have no choice.
He has to.
we want to clean this up. What do we do? You guys want to add this other tier to split Carolina, Toronto, Optic? Like, what are we doing here, bro?
God, it's so hard to split these teams.
I think This is
I want to put 3
actually.
in S.
Do I just blow this? Did we just call it and we just say this is it?
I think this is great as is, actually.
Okay.
Without the actual rankings of the tiers.
Moving Boston down made this better for me.
I'm high, man. I'm high.
Delete
on
that. We
Boston.
can return to C tier. Keep Falcons tier.
Yeah, I know we didn't talk much about Falcons. They went 0-4, got one respawn map, got close to closing a couple maps out. Like they're bottom. They got to figure out a way to
Listen,
be someone. They
go ahead. My bad. Finish your thought.
No, go ahead, Cap.
I touched on earlier when we did bring him in, but I do think Falcons showed positive signs. I expected their respawns to be very, very ugly, but they kept the majority of them pretty close. So I remember when we first did the show, we said their over under for the year was what, 4.5
4.
wins?
Yeah.
I would take the over on that now. They've shown enough that now I think as long as they're getting good practice, their guys are getting in 8s, which I think is pretty typical.
Yeah.
For, they don't speak great English. They're coming in playing 8s. I think that's admirable. It's good work ethic. I think these reps in scrims and in 8s, they'll catch up to at least be decently competitive in some of these matches as the year goes on. They're just they're so far behind in their competitive COD experience playing against top teams that they're making up for so much lost time. And I think they'll be able to do it.
Do you guys think that King of Booty is just in a bad situation with the way his team's playing around him, or do you think they're going to come in and make a roster change for King of Booty, or what's the situation?
King of Booty is crazy.
I mean, I'm just saying how they say it on the broadcast, man. Like,
isn't it King of Body? They don't say it on broadcast.
I have no idea.
Oh, they absolutely say King of Booty on broadcast.
Isn't that like kind of like slang for like his first name's Abdullah, right? Isn't that like kind of just
no idea?
Someone explained it to me once, but I mean, look, to clarify what you're saying, like our criticism of this team when you watch them play is they really have 3 AR players and 1 sub player, and that can create a situation if your sub player is not fucking Tyler or Beezy or Kleenex or Joe Deceives is winning insano gunfights against the world, like you might just be dropping 0.8s. And so it's hard to really tell. Like Xnan, when he ran a sub on that control against FaZe, and I know FaZe made some bad decisions on that map. Like they did end up winning it, but then the next map didn't go so well. So yeah, I don't really. This team will make a roster change probably. They have 4 other Challengers players who are playing NA Challengers, I believe. And they'll probably try some comps to try and even out the stuff. But like they have a long way to go. And I think Cappy made a good point. One thing I want to continue to see from those guys is just getting in 8s. We've had Scrap on and a bunch of other players talking about they've gotten to know these guys. Like the Falcons guys are making a concerted effort to really like socialize and get their play styles and personalities known. It's just going to be like on this org, the coaching staff and the players to find the comp that's going to, actually make them competitive. Because I don't think this 4 right now is going to do it. Maybe more time they will, but at the moment they're not in it right now.
Figure it out, Clayster.
The roles don't work.
Yeah, Jimmy.
The roles are just not on the team.
All right. Any final thoughts on this tier list before it gets capped, put on Reddit, and everybody
got
roasts
a lot
us?
of thoughts. It's got the most amount of thoughts.
This is beautiful to me.
This is the best we're gonna get.
This is a work of art.
Well, if you
I
guys
would only change one thing, but that's it. I would just move Rocker up to B, but that's again, I'm not gonna be upset if it doesn't happen.
If you guys don't like this tier list, send all your thoughts to Octane at 100thieves.com. And
I like to be on Reddit.
Email. That's an email.
Well, I'll be excited to read the Reddit and
That's an email for sure.
Reddit and Twitter comments. Your thoughts on the tier list. Let's move on. We're going to wrap up the show today with some community questions. There are some good ones we got on Twitter, and I think we'll have some nice discussion on a few of these. So shout out to people that replied. Let me pull up the first one. In the spirit of Christmas.
Community questions.
Yeah, because people brought up some good points that we got to talk about. Also, there were some dumb ones.
I disagree.
There were some dumb ones, like my friend Adam tried to ask me to ask you a stupid question, which I'm not going to ask. So
ask me a stupid question.
Yeah, it was a pretty stupid question. It wasn't even a question.
Adam,
like he didn't even ask a question. Yeah. You asked a question without asking a question, but
I'll just roast him later. It's all good.
Double XP, my boy Double XP. Do you agree with how the COD League is managed? This question. What personnel changes would you make to strengthen the league and its relationship with key stakeholders, not just sponsors? I'm talking about teams, players, fans in this question. And we also had gotten on the same vein one from Core as well, which is basically on the same point of given the long-term successful Qualiver's open competitive ecosystem, what needs to be put in place for the CDL transition back in this, because I assume for all of us, that's really our big thing with the CDL right now. We think the closed system is not adding as much competitiveness, and the open events that we all liked probably need to come back. That'll be the biggest thing. Agree, disagree?
You just said a lot of words.
Yeah, you did say a lot of word vomit.
Let me reel us in. Let me reel us in.
We want open events back? Is that
do we all agree with how the COD League is managed? Yes or no?
No.
That's a very broad.
That's crazy, bro.
It's an insane broad question. Okay.
I don't think the league's going in the right direction.
Let me ask a more clarifying questions. Do you agree with Core that we'd like to see open qualifiers, more of an open ecosystem going forward?
With regard to what?
The CDL events, challengers, the whole
so bring back open events.
Argument.
Whether that's the event format.
Obviously, yes. Every event should be an open event.
Yes, but it's not. It's not. Yes, in an ideal world, that is best. But I've made this argument a million times to people. It's not really realistic to have open events. Events are already a money drain. Open events have zero return on investment. Nobody's watching them, much as there's like maybe 1,000 of people who watch challengers consistently in the world. Like, it's not enough for them to be hosting open events. I don't know what the answer is, but
you want to hear my counter argument?
The league's hemorrhaging money, has been for years. It's why we're finally seeing pay cuts, and they can't just keep dumping money into things that don't return money, or the league will die even quicker than it's on track to.
So Cap, counter Benjay argument. This is some Benjay event experience thing. One of the problems and the reason that the CDL is hemorrhaging money is by choosing to run these closed events. They're like, oh, well, we could go into arenas and theaters. And what you find out very quickly is this: open bracket used to cost less than 100K to run. Now, if you run an open bracket, it's 120, 130 north of that. But I'm telling you, some of these theater arena events that are getting picked in some of these markets are like prohibitively expensive venues. And the teams are probably spending 2 to sometimes 2.5 probably mil on running these events, not even with an open challengers portion. So I would argue that open events may actually in many cases be cheaper, not always, because some convention centers are very expensive, unfortunately, but some are not. Some convention centers, especially when you go into them, you will get local marketing help. You'll get dollars from local government, sports commission, the state, whatever. Like Carolina, South Carolina is a great example of this. They pump a lot of money in. You get grants, and you can actually make it somewhat affordable.
So you're saying that the change in venue itself would fund the challengers event?
Here's how I would look at it.
Make them cost.
The difference.
It costs less money, but there's still no profit.
I want to introduce people to what I think is the future reality of some of this. I feel like I have a pretty good read on this. I will not be surprised if this year or next year, 1, 2, maybe more events are part of DreamHack Festival events within North America. Because to your point, Cap, it reduces, there's no venue cost, essentially, because that's an EFG cost. You're just a portion of a bigger festival that's going on, taking up a giant, massive convention center. You get your own stage space. Like, it checks a bunch of boxes, and you'd be able to run the open event. You know what I'm saying? Because there's already economies of scale because of all the personnel that EFG is doing. So that is like how to core, like I see it coming back in that form, because MLG doesn't exist anymore, but I think we'll probably get that. If not this year, I won't be surprised if it happens once or twice next year.
I mean, yeah, that sounds better, but it's still like as it is.
Yeah.
Right now, because that's kind of what it was back in the day. Is like these open events, like we played random UMG events. We played at like there was events at like PAX.
That PAX was an open event. That was like a league. That was like league playoff fucking close.
Yeah, qualifier. But it's like it was at those bigger conventions. Is my point. Like that happened sometimes. There was all these different vendors who could host tournaments. That is definitely a positive idea if it were to happen. But as it is right now, like is hosting these open events is just there's no money to be made.
I'll say that all the league arguments are teams don't want to play on side stations because they're selling sponsorships against being able to get all of the viewership, and that's just the way the league charter was done when they thought it was always a one thing model. it's gonna hard to walk that back. And the second thing, is that these teams don't want a situation where they pull up to their first event and their franchise team gets ran by some random amateur kids. Although statistically in the MLG days that happened way less than you would think it would happen. So
GGA Orange, my Saturday morning warm up.
yeah, and you guys would 3-0 fucking slam them, even though they were running everybody's pockets and challengers.
GGA, bright and early, 10 a.m. Saturday morning, bro. Report,
win, get back at 6 p.m.
Fucking spoof and whoever the fuck on B Station. Yes, sir, Adam Apsella.
I want to give one more thought before the next question, the back part of double XP thing. I think the double XP thing about personnel changes, the biggest thing that Activision can do to improve the CDL competitive product, and it's not just this, it applies to Warzone, it applies to COD Mobile. We talked about this in the beginning of the show. The structure of Activision now, in which CDL, the Call of Duty business unit, and the studios are often these silo entities that don't really talk to each other, and it's political games between each other, gets in the way of quality innovation and quality product for the fans, and now be the biggest personnel change. All those people getting on the same page, having the same ideas on how they want to execute, having the same core goals would improve the product drastically, but that is not a realistic thing, I would say, unfortunately. As much as I would want that, it's just not going to fucking happen. So this is what we got. This is what we got. All right, I'll move on. We got like 2 more questions I'm going to pull up. The next question, this is a very fun one, and I didn't know how to answer this one. From Garrett. If instead of COD, the CDL teams competed in paintball, who would be the best team?
Yeah, I'll take this one bet. No, I'm joking. Imagine I just had such a passionate
I want
take.
to actually think this one out. Actually, on some real, obviously Crim 6 would probably come back in this situation because Crim would be a top free agent pickup. But who do you think would actually win?
It's what team's in shape?
Ooh, I like that.
FaZe, tiny hitbox.
You're going tiny hitbox.
Oh, they're cheating with tiny hitbox.
You're going tiny hitbox.
FaZe, we got skinny bot.
Skinny bot Osa cheese is what we're calling
Draws
it.
is the only one with a good hitbox.
We got tiny hitbox.
I'm going Ravens.
Dude, Carolina's
T's big hitbox.
Wide, but not very vertical, but a little wide.
Horizontal hitbox.
I think Slasher's
Not a skinny bot for sure.
Slasher's posted up on a heady for sure.
He just catching big strays.
Someone in my chat said LATV terrible. Scrap's neck would be a dead giveaway. We'll just get all of the
bro. Scrap can't snake, bro. His head's poking up everywhere. The team's just I gotta go FaZe, man.
I think someone made a good point. C9 might low key. I don't know. The problem is I don't think any of these players play paintball, so it's I don't know who or Milson play fucking airsoft. Experience. But I thought this was a funny question.
Optics in pretty good shape.
Yeah, Optics
is
good.
Like 10 miles just for fun.
That's weird. Head first. And it's out here endurance and shit.
Yeah. Casual 10-mile run at 3 a.m. What's wrong with you?
I'm also just the best player in the game. My name's Shots. Fuck that guy.
Mine's so clear after running. I just hop on for scrims.
Bro, those tweets have me in tears, bro. Oh, my name's Shotsy. I run 10 miles for fun and I drop a 1.7 in the CDL and I'm on op. Fuck you.
Well, fun question. That last question I got from Cliff. I'm going to start with Cap on this one. And this is a 101 one that I want to address. What is the upside of removing maps? Talking about going from, instead of adding Hossie to the pool and having 6 hardpoint 6 S&D, why not keep a bigger pool of maps and teams because veto like normal? What's the benefit from a removal? And when did variety become such a bad thing in our esport? Cap, what are your thoughts on why?
Sam, why do you look like that?
Because having bad maps for the sake of bigger number is stupid.
Yeah, but
no.
At this point, rewind hardpoint, I don't think is bad.
I don't think so either, but that's just this specific example.
Protocol hardpoint should be
having exactly. Having bigger map pool is stupid when you have bad maps in the pool.
Theoretically, to his question though, if you actually have good maps, I think
it's fine.
I agree. I think have all the maps in the world.
Absolutely.
Have it like CS and Val do that, where they have a fuck ton of maps. You only pick.
Well, they rotate though. They rotate maps that they play.
Yeah,
they remove 3 at a time. They rotate 3 in and out at a time or something. They keep a pool of 6.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They keep a pool 6 or 7 though, and then you just pick you veto, and you just pick.
Yeah.
Whatever, but if you had enough good maps, hypothetically, this is a great idea.
We've had it before. AW.
How many maps do we have?
By the
AW
end.
didn't have vetoes. AW.
No, we had vetoes
didn't
at
matter
the we had
to me.
vetoes at the end of AW. Season
No,
3
we didn't.
playoffs.
No,
Season
we
3
didn't. Did
Season
we?
3
I don't
playoffs
think-
had vetoes, I'm pretty sure. Am I faded?
I don't think
Ghost-
AW
Ghost-
ever
Ghost
had
and
It was
vetoes.
full map gen.
You-
Are you sure? I thought it was.
I feel
AW
like
was
AW
full map gen.
at the end had vetoes. I'm gonna have to go back and watch
I don't
VODs
think
to
it
see.
did.
I don't think it did.
I swear they used to go out with a tablet
I mean, maybe I'm
and do
wrong. but
vetoes
that
in
was
the
a
fucking
that was
middle.
fucking damn near 10 years ago. So I don't know.
Conspiracy theorists had a theory that year that
Retreat hard point.
retreat hardpoint would be map 1 because that was Optic's best shit in the finals.
Every final. Retreat hard
I know
point
for
first
sure
map.
champs didn't have vetoes. I know for sure champs didn't have vetoes.
Sam, do you know if any of the pros, obviously other than Thieves, were upset with Rewind getting taken out? Like, because I haven't really seen any other T line.
No,
anything
I've
else
seen
like
everyone
that.
kind of happy that it's gone.
Okay, even for Search.
Search, no. I think people
Okay.
are confused about S&D. Rewind and
Okay.
Hardpoint, a lot of teams didn't like it. They just didn't fuck with the map. I mean, LAT are obviously biased because it was one of their better maps, so we see them more outspoken on Twitter. But
Gotcha.
Rewind Search, I know people are relatively confused by just because Skyline's still in, and people don't really like that map. But Rewind Hardpoint, yeah, it makes sense for them.
All right, I lied. One more question. This is a real
Surely.
toxic one from Toxics, and he's begging me to answer this. So here we go. If Hydra, this is the last question. If Hydra makes his third Champs Grand Final in a row and wins, can we say he's officially a top 10 player ever with 2 rings and 3 attempts? Has only been in the league for 5 years. I think we all agree he gets a third ring. Probably on the way. We'll probably win another event as well. Like,
I mean, yeah, he's in
I'm
what, year
simp.
4? This is year 4? Shit,
yeah,
yeah.
Cold
I think.
War,
5?
Vanguard, yeah, year 5.
Yeah, 3 rings in 5 years would be fucking insane.
Agreed. Toxic was begging me to answer that question. I was like, I don't think it's gonna be that interesting of a conversation.
He
but
does
yeah.
only have one,
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does only have one. I don't know why you said 2, Benja. He only has 1.
It'd be a top
Yeah.
10. Oh no, so he said,
Oh, you
can
mean
we
like
say
the champs
to win
finalist?
2 rings and 3 attempts? Because if he makes 3 back-to-back finals, wins 2 of them.
Oh,
'Cause he won 1, lost 1, and now you know what I'm saying? Like you have a second ring.
Yeah.
I did that shit. It's overrated.
Cap should have won champs every year for 5 years straight.
Yeah, basically.
Dude, when you said that, I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And then you actually like said it out loud. I was like, "Oh my god, you should have won champs."
No, I
5
had
times."
a valid fucking.
But
There's
that's
an
insane.
alternate. There's an alternate universe out there where I have
5 rings.
at least 4 rings as a player.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Which
Maybe
is
Black Ops, maybe Black
So
Ops 4 we
tippy.
know shit is like maybe, but
So
like
tippy.
at least 4 in an alternate universe.
between the
Wherever
ones
that one is, I hope I'm living good in that one.
I'm sure Willow has found it somewhere at this point.
between
Yeah,
the
it's
ones you won back to back, like which was the more impressive one you think?
Doug said 5. Yeah, bro. Cap had a world where he won 5 champs straight. It's
What's
not
that?
even like
At least
could have
4.
won it. Wait, what was it, Cap? What were the years?
Well,
It was-
Black
it
Ops
was
2
what?
lost in the finals.
Yeah.
Ghost, no. Ghost, we weren't winning. BO3 AW, IW,
loss.
breakdown, and then
Absolute breakdown.
Yeah.
there's World War II. We had a bad choke in winners bracket to United. Otherwise, no, that wasn't winners bracket.
BO4
No,
potentially.
World War II probably not.
World War II, I don't think so, Cap.
Wait.
Were you gonna be either?
No, I misremember the bracket. We lost early in winners. No, World War
Yeah.
II, no. And then Black Ops 4 was
You guys choked at United.
Yeah.
we should have been at least in winners finals.
We would have
Yeah.
slammed you, but yeah, no, you choked at United.
You always say that, but you know, whatever happened would have happened. Unfortunately, we choked at United, and some of my teammates, I won't name names,
John Exotic.
Lamar and Attach, it broke down after we lost. Though.
Everybody
No,
else.
dude,
Everybody else.
we're naming names. We said we're not
John
gonna name
Exotic,
names. He read a pistol on a subclass.
he had a bad player too, but
Well,
It's okay.
Cap, you
Lamar
got,
and
you
Dylan
wouldn't
broke
do
down mentally.
you got some good gas from Berg in the chat. Can't spell jetpack without JKap. Yes, sir. You got
Excellent,
2
man.
pack wins. What you think
Good
to
point.
close of the show? What you think was more impressive, the AW win or the Black Ops 3 win?
BO3.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because AW, we won because Dylan Attach had the best weekend of his life. He was great at that game, as we all
Yeah, Clay was like
probably
top 3,
remember.
I think.
From like I was insane in that game, but
You guys
Bill
got
just had an
second
insane
a million.
weekend.
You got
But
second a million times coming in too. So it's not like you guys were.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
your
twice.
team in BO3 was disgusting. All of you guys
But-
were
so my
literally like
thing
top
is-
5.
my thing is AW, we had a incredible weekend. Won, but like I can admit we were not a better team than Optic, whether it was the version with Matt or with Damon. We were not actually like long term better than those guys. They were unbelievable. BO3 when we won, and some people might disagree with this, but that cemented us, in my opinion, as like we were actually the better team in that game.
Wait, you guys were definitely the better team in that game.
Oh, you'd be surprised how many people disagree with that, Sam.
Really?
Yeah,
I was just
I'm
like the whole
surprised.
year, you guys are Optic?
A lot of people.
Bro, y'all were disgusting at the end of that year. Season 2 playoffs to champs was like ridiculous.
Optic won like 2 bullshit events like Europe that, like the one in Australia, I think that year, one in Europe that like we weren't there. You might have not been at them. But, like,
I wasn't at the
Optic,
Australia one.
Remember the
Optic
Australia
won like
event, right?
4 events that year, but like there's some asterisks.
Because you guys were like,
That's my logic on it. Is like BO3 cemented us as like the better team. AW.
oh my God,
feel
you
that.
had fucking Pat with a Raps counter to start the year. Oh that's
yeah,
what it was.
Pat
I was trying to think like what was the beginning of the season? Like that was not your team.
Nah,
John was on
great.
LG. Oh yeah.
and Chad, I agree.
Optic for the league.
Optic ran a lot of events in the middle of that year, but like the way once the spring came around and Austin started locking the fuck in, like
Bro.
your sub duo was fucking unbelievable.
Listen,
like you guys were clear number 1 team,
I can't
especially
believe
after
about
the
to
final playoff event.
We're about to glaze Austin like this, bro. I have never in my life felt like I could do nothing on the map like stage 2 playoffs when we played you guys. I think I dropped
Austin was
19.
fine.
I think I dropped 19 in both hard points. And I was just looking on my monitor like, bro, I tried. Like Austin was fucking pissing on me. It was bad, dude. That was bad.
I mean, that was my favorite team of all time. I was delusionally confident with that team at the end of that
You
game.
guys were gross, yeah.
We just hit that. We hit that form where it just like felt like we just knew everything that was going to happen. And you've had either Black Ops 4 or Vanguard.
CLOSEST did.
Yeah, like it was just every time we were playing was just felt so smooth.
John and App just actually untradeable, unkillable.
Good times for sure.
Great team. Unfortunately, Austin is not here for our giant glaze at him. He was here earlier in the show, but I believe
I'm sure he'll say it.
we are at some version of time here. It was a W show, probably our last show in the year of 2024, but we'll be back in January, probably before the major, breaking down our thoughts, predictions, bets, all sorts of stuff. So make sure you guys check that out. Obviously, we are on YouTube on my YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. I'm Nissim. We are on Anchor FM, Spotify, iTunes. You search up Scrap Time, you'll find us. If there's any platform we're not on, let me know. We'll add it. There's a bunch of random podcast platform that like 10 people listen to episodes on. Sure, we'll add it.
That's
whatever.
good.
And yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, let us know on Twitter or on the comments. And hope everybody in chat, listening, you all have a great holiday, great Christmas, great New Year's, great Hanukkah, all the jazz.
Great work. Great episode.
And yeah,
I'm sure we'll be on Reddit.
We're definitely going to be on Reddit. Definitely going to be on Reddit shortly, getting cooked, but it is what it is.
Dude, can't
That'll be
wait.
your episode.
I'll be in the comments. Fucking.
That's going to be absolutely shadowboxing people, but that will do it for us. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank y'all so much.
Happy holidays, gang.
Happy holidays, boys.
I'm swinging from the rafters as Venom.